Wig on every single podcast that they could possibly get on. That would be fire.
All right, Aaron, if you want to hit it off, I'm gonna get us going on social media, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, man, we're good. We're live right now. Welcome back, everybody, to the god dang war room. I'm gonna share this screen. We got to show Bobby Aller. Sorry, I was corrected. We got to show his intro that he did. It's hilarious.
Oh, he made us one.
Yeah, he can.
Wait, is that the one Bobby made?
No, it's not the one Bobby made. It's the one I play every week, you son of a bitch. Jay, if your mic isn't messed up, I swear to God, it's always something. Jay, you can find him over at Green Beret Chronicles. What's up, everybody? Back to the war room. We got Nate coming from location. Beautiful Florida. Look at that. You may have seen him on the Anti-Hero podcast last night. He's doing big things. Just a little pool, light flex. We got Jake Zwig with the big flex. We're trying to go over to the Anti-Hero podcast. Apparently, all of Jake Zwig's meme goons, we're trying to get him on the Anti-Hero podcast. So get him on there. I am Aaron. Aaron Loves America is my other stuff. You can find me at the Ones Ready podcast. We back. What's up, everybody? Nate, how are you doing, man? Tell us about Florida. Tell us about Anti-Hero.
Great, man. So actually we came out here because my wife's best friend lives out here. And so she comes out here for her birthday. It's her birthday tonight. So that's why I got to dip out a little bit early. But conveniently, obviously out here. So went out to the Anti-Hero podcast. Brent invited me out to come train the Tampa Police Department SWAT team, which was cool. And then actually later that night, they took us on a live drug bust search warrant raid, like full on fucking blasting windows in, like throwing in, not frags. What are they?
Flashbangs.
Flashbangs, like the whole shebang, huge drug raid, dogs, everything. So that was super cool. And then, we did an episode with Jim Day from MacVSOG, who obviously is my dad's best friend. I've known him for fucking ever, but he lives down here in Florida. I haven't seen him for probably 10 years. And, I just shot my shot to him and I was like, Jim, would you be willing to maybe come on a podcast? Because he's been asked, and he runs in the circles of Billy Waugh, of John Stryker, all those guys, same exact group, all the same missions, but he's never been willing to come on a podcast or tell his stories. And he did for the very first time on that episode. So that'll be out Monday. So super cool. You guys should check it out.
Well, that's not all you did. You got a little bit spicy, as you're known to do.
Oh, Jesus. You were going to start right out with this?
Here we go.
They both tell stories about getting injured, but Tim's isn't real. And that's well documented by his own teammates. You weren't injured in combat. He actually tells two different stories about being wounded in combat. He has no Purple Heart. But if you're going to do stuff like this, the ultimate grifter move, how dare you, any moment that you took away from those actual war heroes, for you to get FaceTime, with the president?
See how he shoved himself at the top photo in front of everyone else, and then he shoved himself to the center of the photo behind Trump. He had to be the center of the attention.
I'm going to.
Fuck you, Tim Kennedy, you fucking pussy.
Nate. Tim Kennedy is gonna beat the shit out of you.
He says it. He says it. He says it, Jay. He's like, I know Tim Kennedy will beat the fuck out of me, but I don't care. I'm saying.
He's like, I don't give a shit. I'm taking this ass whooping.
Now, Nate, do you think he's trying to position himself for a cabinet position, or do you think he's trying to get into politics? And if so, like, what's the likelihood of that actually happening?
Yeah, I think this is his last ditch effort. I mean, he's made it very clear to all of us this is what he's trying to do. And I honestly, I didn't even know anything about this until that rolled. Brent rolled that, and he knew about it because we basically got sent that right before we started the show. And like, that was a bunch of fucking wounded warriors. Everybody in that fucking picture has their fucking legs or limbs blown off, and he's there as part of a wounded warrior coalition to meet Donald Trump. Why the fuck is he there to begin with? He's not a fucking wounded warrior. And the fact, on top of that, as you guys saw in those pictures, he shoves himself in the center and in front of everybody else to be the main fucking focus of that. Me and Brent both were just, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but you think this guy, the audacity of this guy, right? You think like it can't get any more extreme, but like the dude's not a wounded warrior. And we're talking about, like, I'm on the podcast with Brent Tucker, who's been blown up and shot to shit and fucking bunch of Purple Hearts and shit. And even he was like, I would never position myself in front of all these dudes that are fucking missing both their legs and shit and make myself the photo op. I mean, it's just fucking, it's insane, guys. I mean, am I off base with the way I felt about that? Or like, how do you guys feel about that?
No, not at all. I mean, it's wild because it's not like it's a secret that he's done this, right? The podcast has been out for a while now. Everybody knows, to include probably some of those wounded warriors, right? So it's like, man,
100%.
like I wonder
It's
what type
actually
of
really
conversations were being
interesting.
had behind closed doors. Aaron, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just really interesting to explore, right? Like, I wonder how those dudes felt. Like, those guys know the story. Like a lot of people, and this is the issue. Nate and I talked about it a couple times, right? Is like other people don't know this story. Like some people that see Tim Kennedy from the outside, they're not tracking the inside baseball because we forget how small the special operations community is and special operations dudes on Instagram. Like everybody in our small circle knows this. That's 1% of 1% of people, man. It's not like it hits mainstream stuff, but those dudes in that room, they for sure know the backside of that. So I wonder if any of them were actually like pissed about it. And I would be remiss if I didn't welcome Batman himself back to the podcast for the first time off the road. We can't say where he was going or what he was doing, but I'll tell you, J-Lo has also been conspicuously out of the news, and there's somebody looking for a CVS pharmacy rep.
I was about to say,
Mars operator. What's up, brother?
That's right. You guys hear me all right? Fancy
yeah, bro. We see the new
setup.
We see the new setup. Ben Pappas got headphones and a microphone and a crystal clear camera.
When Nate gave me a private counseling offline, he gave me a sidebar counseling. You know, he pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, this is what we use." You know. So, before we now, I gotta figure this shit out.
Good. NCO's taking care of
that's right.
Of officers.
That's like when you show up with your gear all fucked up as an officer. They're like, come here.
Man, we're gonna hit this real quick before we hop into the show. We just wanted to start. Nate's got a little bit of a heart out here, so we wanted to make sure that we covered his show on the Anti-Hero podcast, and then make sure you guys are tracking that Mac v. Sog episode due to drop Monday. You guys got to look at. We were talking about it before you guys came to the screen, but man, that's a piece of oral history. That's an important story. I don't listen to everything that Nate puts out, but I will 100% be on this podcast on Monday. I can't wait to hear it. Mason, thank you for the super chat. They're never expected, but they're always appreciated. It's been a rough 4 months recently, and I just wanted to let you guys know how I appreciate what you guys do. Love y'all for real, man. We love you too. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. From M. Corbin, Tim needs to get some WEF money for a height surgery, which is just mean. And then our friend Jasmine, what's up, Jasmine? My contribution to the boycott TK for good fund. Thank you guys for the super chats. That's fantastic. Ben, I got a question for you, man.
Yeah, bro.
So on the TK topic, right? We were talking about like those guys in the room. How do you maintain your professionalism around somebody in that event on the biggest stage at the White House? You're in the Oval Office. Man, how do you keep your integrity clean when everybody knows this story and you might even know it yourself?
Yeah, I mean that's a really great question. I think at some point there's a lot of disbelief because here's the thing: we've all been around people. Everyone probably who's listening right now has been around somebody in some situation that you can't believe how bold they are. You can't believe they're actually doing what they're doing. Like Nate, you said how he muscled his way into the right behind Donald Trump. You know, he muscled his way into the front and ahead of these guys, and some of these guys are missing legs and things like that, like, really shot up and messed up. And I don't know how you do it, but I think sometimes people are shocked. And so until you've seen it once or twice, or this guy's MO, people just, I think they're in disbelief. And I think probably afterwards there's some heavy pissed offness for sure. But I think in the moment, probably, it just happens so fast that there's not even much of a choice for many people. And some of them might not even know the full story. It's one of those things too. But like you guys are saying, maybe they do know the full story. And then it's a matter of focus. Are you focusing on this guy going to ruin my day and ruin my big event right now? Or am I just going to, hey, let it go? That's not me. And all the real dudes know the real story. And this is what he needs to do. But, karma, man, the truth always comes out. I think, there's a quote from Buddha, actually, right? The sun, the moon, the truth are things that can't be hid for long.
Oh, no.
So,
Oh, that's an awesome analogy
Boom.
right there. That's
Damn it,
a good
Ben.
way to put it.
Come on.
Now,
Always-
Nate, now we know for a fact that there's a lot of vets within President Trump's cabinet. You have Mike Waltz, former Green Beret, Tulsi Gabbard, and the list goes on and on and on. Do you think they're just looking at this as, you know what, this is, like a fly on the wall, like something small that they don't even need to pay attention to, or you think it's deliberate that they're just ignoring it and hoping that it goes away?
So, I mean, good question, right? What I do know, and if you watched the rest of that live, you would have seen Brent talk about how he knows Mike Waltz personally, and he texted Mike Waltz, and it was like, "Hey, dude, seriously, like if you don't know the story, here's the episodes. You cannot keep doing this. Not only from a perspective of it's wrong, but it's gonna blow up in the Trump administration's face at some point." And we talked about this on the episode. We're one message away to, somebody on MSNBC of like, "Hey, by the way, this is Fox News and Donald Trump's poster child of the military, a stolen valor fucking fraud. Look at him." So somebody's going to pick that up, and eventually that's going to blow up in everybody's faces. I'm shocked it hasn't yet as is, but I know that when you talk about like Pete Hegseth and whatever, they've had their photo ops. I also know that people very close to Pete also are tight with the Green Beret community, and they know these stories. So it's very hard for me to believe that these guys don't know. And that's why it becomes a little bit concerning to me of like, I know, like, whether YouTube is its own thing or whatnot, and you think like nobody is watching our niche content, not those episodes that have 500,000 views. Like I can guarantee you people in that administration know this, and they're still allowing it. So I don't know why. Maybe you guys might have a better idea, but for me and Aaron, you're very tied into the political realm of all this. To me, it seems like a massive ticking time bomb of liability that's going to blow up in everybody's face.
Yeah, and as much as I hate to admit it, like I remember while all this was going on, and I think Sean Ryan put out an episode with the interviewing Shoemate, and in that interview, he said something that was eye-opening for me, right? He said Tim Kennedy reached out to him on behalf of USASOC, and this was while everything was going on. And I heard that, and I'm like, you know what? If after all of this, USASOC is still using Tim Kennedy to contact the media, to contact social media, and they know all of this, more than likely nothing's going to happen to this dude because everything is already out. He's still in the reserve, or not the reserve, but the National Guard, but yet USASOC is still using them to contact, your Sean Ryan and some of these other individuals out there. That's when it dawned on me that, oh, people know about this. They just don't care.
But don't you guys also think it's a little odd that it's this big? To me, and somebody just brought this up to me yesterday, I'd never thought about it. Nobody on the left has picked this story up. Why?
Yep.
Why has nobody on the left picked this story up? That to me starts to get very questionable about a lot of different things. Maybe that's conspiracy tinfoil hat, but to me, it's like this is the easy button for the left to be like, oh, here's the poster child of the fucking military. He's a stolen valor fraud. Let's fucking run with it. And nobody has touched it, to which me is very, very odd.
He's got someone backing him for sure. He's got some kind of support. But I mean,
no, I
hate
couldn't
to
disagree
say,
more, man.
Well, I don't know what I'm saying.
I think it's Hanlon's razor, man. Never assume, maliciousness where incompetence is probably the number one factor. Again, we care about this a lot, right? Like we give a shit about it. Stolen valor is a big thing to us. Does the left care about the military? Does the left care about a war hero? Even if they could use this as political capital, what's the damage? What are the optics?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Like the left has Tim Walz. The left has fucking, the guy that, no kidding, just straight up lied about his military service. He was a vice presidential candidate. So if they bring it up, the right is immediately, they know that there's no attack there. And again, we care. I think, Jay, you hit it on the head. Like the American public writ large doesn't know the story. They don't care, even though the facts are out there, even though they can go do their own research. I just don't think they give a shit. They don't.
Yeah,
at
same
least,
here.
at least not like we do. So the Democrats, they have all these other issues, like, you know, some social media influencer, because that's what Tim is now. Like, okay, some social media influencer wrote a book and some of his vet mill bros have some drama and they don't like him. That doesn't represent everybody. Tim still has millions of followers. Tim still has
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
follow him.
Plus, what's the loss? What's the potential damage to them if they mess it up and they're wrong? What if, you know?
Yeah.
What if we don't have a tight case and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, you're wrong. It's going to hurt them.
They're not even
Yeah.
smart enough to talk on it. They're not even
Let-
smart enough. They don't have it. Who on the left is going to champion this cause? What GWAT veteran?
Yeah.
What Jason Crow from Colorado is going to bring out stolen valor on Tim Kennedy? He's a piece of shit. They don't want to touch it.
I just want to highlight that they want AOC to run as president right now.
It's the number one candidate, the
It's
number one Democratic.
I don't care
kingmaker.
what we talk about. If they are getting behind AOC to be the president,
It's a nut show.
then we're fucking looking at Captain Kool-Aid and shit. Like, that's what we're looking at. Like, fucking Captain Kool-Aid running commercials and fucking your boy from fucking Roadrunner, the fucking coyote. So we got the coyote and fucking Hello Kool-Aid fucking running the left right now. That's all I'm gonna say. Like if they're back in AOC, I just had a conversation today with one of my best friends. I'll say, hey man, like we're talking about AOC being the president. Like, what fucking planet are we on, man? That's the best thing that 350 million Americans, and our best candidate for president is a lunatic 26-year-old crazy woman from New York City. Come on, man. What are we talking about?
Yeah, good times. All right, we'll switch it up real quick, boys. Like I said, hopefully nothing happens with Tim and he ends up in hopefully he doesn't end up in government. If he does, I know Nate's gonna lose his shit. It's gonna be fun to watch. But we'll jump into this first one, guys, and we'll start up with you on Jake on this one, Jake, because you are our resident Navy guy, and I'm sure you got some wild stories about sailors disappearing for days on end. Hopefully they were recovered, but
Wait,
this is
pen left. Like, oh shit, here we go.
All right, so I don't know if you've seen this case, Jake.
Yep.
But dude, I don't even know what to think about it. Hopefully it's nothing crazy, but Sailor Gabriel D. Holt, assigned to the aircraft carrier USS Nesmith, went missing during a scheduled port visit to Guam on April 18th, 2025. He was last seen at 11:57 p.m. between Hotel Nico and Gun Beach, wearing a white tank top, green short, and gray shoes. Despite extensive search and rescue effort by the Navy and local authorities, including over 120 hours of operational recovery, covering over 11,000 square nautical miles, Holt remains unaccounted for. Jake, what's your take on this? Have you ever witnessed anything like this?
Yeah, this happens all the time, man. So you got a big ass aircraft carrier. It's got roughly, just call it 5,000 people on it. Any deployment, they're going to lose between 3 and 7 people on that deployment. And when I say lose, I mean just unaccounted for. Like in the middle of the night, dudes are jumping off the fantail. Literally, like guys are committing suicide on deployment, just jumping off the fantail. I was in the Med. We were looking for some dude that didn't show up for morning muster in the middle of the Mediterranean. We're trying to look for him. Like, obviously, it's just a sailor floating around in the ocean. But I will say this, on Liberty, the aircraft carrier has so many people that people go out and have a good time. They get really drunk and they do really dumb stuff. And sometimes they disappear while doing dumb stuff, i.e., I'm going to go for a night swim in the ocean, boys. And they don't come back. So
is that a thing? Like, does that actually happen?
Absolutely. All the time. All the time.
Wild to me. I had never heard that before.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, all the time. All the time. Like, I'm going to tell you, in a battle group of aircraft carrier, 2 destroyers, a tender, an oiler, and a submarine, and normally you're going to pull into port with one other ship. Like, when the aircraft carrier makes port calls, they don't go to port very often. It's huge. So those sailors have probably been underway for anywhere from 60 to 90 days, and they're blowing their tops off. Like, blowing their tops off. Like, and the result is you got, let's just say out of the 5,000 people, 1,000 go out and blow their tops off. You got the odds in your favor that one of them is going to make a really dumb decision, i.e., he's going to try to do real life Frogger in the freeway and get ran over. Like when I tell you dumb shit in the Navy, like that's the kind of stuff we talk about. Like super drunk, blackout. I'm going to do a swan dive off of the ship into the water, but I dive off the bridge wing into the pier. Okay. Like 3 buddies are egging you on. You can't do it. Dude dove off the bridge wing into the pier. You know,
man, I wasn't tracking the scale either. These aircraft carriers alone, that's not talking about the other battle groups, they have 6,000 personnel on them. The newer ones, the newer Ford class carriers, still have 4,500 sailors on them that are there all the time. That is a ton of people.
Yep.
As a commander, Ben, like how are you attacking this to hopefully trying to find this guy? Like, if you were in that commander's shoes and you were in charge of that battle carrier, like what would your battle drill look like?
I mean, obviously losing people is always a big deal, but again, like Jake, having been underway and actually seen them lose people, I think the standard of performance, the basic standard of performance was if you can make it across the quarterdeck, you're okay. So like people were crawling across the quarterdeck, you know, drunk, and like they're getting cheered on with the officer of the day, and you know, everybody's like, come on, and they make it, like, okay, he's good, take him in. You know, so yeah, people desert, people take off. So I think at some point they have to leave, you know, they have to go. People desert in the Philippines and Thailand, all these places, because, you know, I hate to say it, but some small thinking, right? You know, they get out there in these places, like they can't believe they're in this place. How am I ever going to get back here? I'm never leaving. Seriously, Jonesy, I'm never leaving. You're not leaving, dude? No, hell no. Watch this. Boom. Then I'll wait till the ship is gone. And they try to make a life for themselves there, and not realizing that, you know, eventually when the shore patrol comes back again, they're going to try and hunt deserters down, or the Marines will hunt deserters down, and they make, you know, there's some sport of it, right? They're going to, and there are other people who do that for a living, you know, some bounty hunter type people as well. But, so yeah, they desert, and they're just like, I really live in the Philippines, in this village. I'm never leaving. They're out of their minds, like Jake's saying. And so, I mean, I've seen some of this stuff, and you run into some weird cats and dogs. Spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia and some, you know, far off remote places, and all of a sudden there's some, you know, American pops up. You're like, hey, like what are you doing here? And they're not that old, and they give you some sketchy story, but they know a lot about the military. You're like, huh, interesting. So the battle drill is you look until you can't, you do an investigation, and the ship moves on, and that's it, you know, pretty much. So no, I hate to say it, but losing in that case, probably losing a critical piece, a sensitive item of equipment, will incur a greater search effort. If that sounds like, you know, a little bit callous, but I mean, Jake, am I wrong about that?
I got no, Ben, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
So we were in Haifa, Israel. We threw a burn bag into the regular trash, and 100 people off of my ship were bussed into the city dump to look for this top secret burn bag in the dump. So yes, you are 100% correct. And we looked for 3 or 4 days.
All right, real quick.
Damn.
Just quick story. Talked about thrown into the dump, into the fire. I'm in Mount Fuji, Japan, right? I'm the weapons, the fire support team leader. So I've got all, like, you know, all the weapons, assets, also basically, like, you know, I'm like the JTAC, I'm everything, not the JTAC, but I'm like, you know, I could command the team with the JTAC, all stuff like that for an infantry company. We go to Mount Fuji. We're doing this exercise with mortars, artillery, aircraft, all this stuff, you know, combined arms exercise. So I'm turning over the fist team to my good buddy Rivera. If you're watching this, you know the story. You're gonna die. Mount Fuji is just starting to come in bloom. It's beautiful. Oh, you can imagine, right? His first duty, like, you know, we make a big ceremony of it, as only lieutenants can do. We're like, you know, oh, I pass to you now the sacred radio, and, you know, everyone's laughing. He's like, okay, calls in a fire mission. For some reason, Willie Pete, he burns Mount Fuji down. Literally, he freaking burns it down, dude. And you talk about 100 people getting busted in. The Japanese Self-Defense Force sent like thousands into the fire, into the impact area, UXO everywhere, unexploded ordnance. It was sort of like out of a Godzilla movie, dude. You know, they were like attacking this thing with these like rakes, swatting the fire. My CO comes over, looks at us, he goes, get the hell out of here. Don't you dare go in that impact area. Get out of here now. He's like, this is their choice. Stuff burns down all the time. So we leave literally Mount Fuji as we're driving away in the background. It's like the sacred place for samurais, just torched, you know. But
yeah,
there, thousands of them smacking the fire. And like there's UXO out there. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And they're all in the same. They're not in like military uniforms. They're in like these like construction uniforms. Like I swear to God, it was like out of a movie. So anyway,
Nate, what are your thoughts? Like, if you were this guy's parent, like, how would you be feeling right now? Like, what's your thought about the story itself? And then you can type that on the back end.
When Jake first said like the numbers, we lose this many guys on the ships a year deployment, I'm like, oh my God, that's absolutely crazy. But then I was like, well, but what about in garrison? What happens at like JBLM in a 6-month period? Like we have 2, 3, 4 guys killed from training accidents, suicide, like even in first group, right? A couple dudes killed themselves a year. Like that's not actually that rare. So if you think about, okay, well now this is like what Aaron said, what, 5,000-6,000 fucking people on these ships. That's almost a garrison on the water. And now it doesn't sound that surprising when you sort of juxtapose it across what like a typical military base is seeing. It's not that rare. So, but like if you're his parents, man, I don't know. If you're the commander, I don't know. I mean, you're on the water. Like, what do you do? If this dude jumped off the ship in the middle of the night and you're 25, 35 miles away from that at that point, like you're not, like he's gone. There ain't no finding him. So, I mean, it sucks, but I don't know. I mean, I would deter to the Navy guys to, what do you do? Do you just move on? Like Ben said, you kind of like do your due diligence and then you kind of, carry on with the mission, because you're not going to backtrack the fucking aircraft carrier 100 miles. Like that's not going to happen. So,
Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Man, I always go to like, how is the search and rescue going? How are they communicating this stuff? What kind of assets are they bringing into this? I mean, it's a terrible story, whether it's suicide, whether they just lost them or whatever. But I mean, we lost 2 SEALs doing a VBSS off the coast of Somalia, a much smaller ship. I can't imagine, the scale that we're talking about here. So Navy has rescue swimmers. I know they're doing aerial searches. The one thing I do want to say is like, people are like, oh, well, we lost somebody off the ship. It's pretty easy to find them. I can tell you from personal experience, trying to find somebody in the open ocean where you're just looking at a search pattern you don't know, it is the hardest thing in the world to do. There's light that's reflecting off of the ocean, even sea dye, right? We have this stuff that you put in the ocean and it basically turns the sea a bright green. So it's this bright green little spot that's supposed to be around the survivor. I guarantee this guy didn't have it. He either fell off the ship or they lost him and then now they can't find him. Even with sea dye, I have close friends that were like, dude, some guy had like, because we'll play survivors for each other. We'll be like, go out in the open ocean, do the splashing you're supposed to do if you see or hear a helicopter, put the sea dye in there. I have friends, especially out of New York, they do a ton of open ocean rescues, the Moffat guys as well. It's impossible to find somebody out there. So especially if that person is tired and not splashing around or they're not responding to the appropriate rescue cues, like this is a complex thing and it sucks. And it sucks for everybody that's at home, because everybody at home is like, aren't we supposed to be able to find these people? It ain't that easy, homie. So, I mean, they're in a rough spot. And man, I was not aware that we lose that many sailors. That's just wild to me.
Now, Aaron, does the Navy use you guys for support also when it comes to like PJ operations, or do they have their own component?
Yeah, so they have their own component. Everybody, the Navy, the ships have rescue swimmers, right? Navy
rescue swimmers.
Yeah, so the Navy has rescue swimmers that are meant exactly for this. They're supposed to be able to handle their own problems. What'll happen is usually, so this person is called Dust One, duty status unknown, right? That's their actual whatever. If it raises up, basically in the PRCC, the Personnel Recovery Coordination Center, if it hits their desk and the Navy essentially can ask for help for more assets, they'll deploy teams that'll do fixed and rotary wing searches out there. So it's pretty common, especially if they're just like, listen, we've done everything we can. Like those helicopters, they're basically ship based, right? Like they're not meant to fly around big areas of ocean. If they have to go on with mission, they'll turn the rescue over to our dudes. But there's a whole algorithm and a whole decision process to where they finally be like, listen, we're going to need to engage the PRCC. And by the way, the PRCC is allowed to tap a whole bunch of other people. So you can have Coast Guard planes that are out there. You can have other planes in the area. They can task other aircraft to come help with this search. But usually it's a time-based thing, right? The Navy will try to fix their own problems, and then they'll be like, hey, we can't. They'll get some more assets in there. And then usually once that person is deemed an isolated personnel, an IP, and they're like duty status unknown and they're a lost, like missing in action person, usually that's when it triggers the larger rescue architecture.
Gotcha. And I just read an update on this article too that says that the Navy has suspended all search for the seamen. So it's unfortunate that, dude, how crazy would it be if he just shows up like, oh, sorry guys, I was passed out at the bar. Like,
sorry, I'm
like,
sleeping down in the boiler room.
Hey, I'll add one thing. And am I too loud now? I messed with the dials over here.
Just
Is it
a
too
little-
much?
You're
no,
good
you-
now.
Just
Is
a
it good?
little
Yeah.
bit further
Yeah.
down, and
A
you're
little
good.
further
Yeah, now you sound great.
All right, how about this? Too much? Too little?
Too low.
No, you were
Too
good.
low.
You were good.
All right, good. Okay, everyone's good. Everyone's
Good.
happy.
We're good.
Yeah.
Quick story to Aaron's point. You know, I'm coming back from a VBSS once. I'm in the lead bird. I've got probably 6 birds with me, and coming back with the assault force, and we're going from a training ship out in the middle of the Pacific, and we're coming back to the amphibious ready group. And to the point about not being able to find some things, we couldn't find the friggin' amphibious ready group. We couldn't find the flat deck, the big deck to land on. And the pilot turns to me. I thought he's kidding. He's like, "Hey, Ben, can you take this? And can you look for the ship?" I thought it was one of these jokes where they go, "Pump this or else the helicopter won't fly." They do like PFCs. I go, "Yeah." He looks at me, he goes, No, seriously. Like, it's the Fleur. I need you to look for the ship. I go, isn't there some kind of fucking homing beacon or some shit you guys have? Like, I'm like, don't you guys, isn't there like, it's like a video game? He's like, no, we need to find it visually. So I'm scanning around, and he's like, we're low on fuel. He said, I'm going to patch ditch and don procedures now to the rest of the squadron, the rest of the flight, where the hell they call it, the pilots call it, a group of 6 birds. So I get on my mic.
I think that's actually called a section. I think anything more than 4 helicopters, I think 4 and up is called a section. So it's a flight, and then a squadron, and then a section. So 2, 3, 4. So
it's quite a few of them. But I get a hold of my assault force commander, the direct action platoon commander at the time, and I'm like, hey, he's like, yeah, go. Like, why are you calling me right now? I'm in a different aircraft. I said, hey, so we're gonna start ditching down procedures. He's like, get out of here. I said, yep. He's like, all right, good to go. And he's like, and that's it. We're getting ready, and getting ready to dump in the drinks. We're not out of fuel. Finally, we find it. The pilot's all excited. He's like, I see it. I'm like, are you serious? We can lose the ship. So if everybody listening, finding a person, I'm talking like a bunch of big ships. We could not find them.
Yeah.
And this when it dawned on me that, like, really, I was like, okay, well, how's the survival rate? The water's at this temperature. We're talking about all this stuff. What are we going to do? Okay, when we get down, we're going to hover for a second. Everyone's going to jump out and swim away. And the pilot's going to dump it. And then we're all going to get out. We've all been happy trained. We got little bottles, all this crap like that. We're not worried about crashing. It's just surviving the ocean until they get us, and hopefully they would. I don't know. That's some freaky stuff, man.
So real quick before we move on, and this is actually something that got brought up with our podcast with Jim Day from MacVSOG when we were talking about MIA, right? Missing in action. I thought this was super interesting, and Jim brought it up because we're talking about a guy who's missing in action, right? We don't know what happened to him. He's not KIA. That the way they did it with MacVSOG was they would typically, after a set amount of time, transition them from MIA to KIA. Can you guess why the Army does that?
Benefits?
Even though they have never found them, they don't know where it's at.
Benefits, I would think, right?
Benefits. That's exactly right, Jay. So like Jim said, it's the Army doesn't want to fucking pay the families anymore. So they transition when they're missing in action, they have to continue to pay them their full rate. So this soldier, right, he's getting paid full rate to him and his family. And the second they say, hey, he's KIA, there's no more benefits, which is apparently, I didn't know anything about that, but that's actually how they do it.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that's
that is wild.
Jake, yeah. What would cause, it's being on a ship sounds like a pretty good fucking time. Like, what's causing these sailors to go AWOL and commit suicide?
Not from what I've heard about the ship from Jake.
Let me
tell
y'all something, motherfucker. Let me tell y'all something. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple examples that I've seen personally where somebody has been forced into a mental health crisis. Okay. Stinky kid. Every ship got a stinky kid. Okay. And so dude's in the berthing with 48 people. Okay. And he's stinky kid. And so on my ship, one of my dudes was mentally, I'm just going to call him mentally slow. Okay. He walk around like this. Okay. He was decent at his job. Okay. He was a bosun's mate. He knew his knots and shit like that. But for the rest of the time, he was, and he drooled a little bit and shit. Okay. So he was the stinky kid. And one day he showed up and his whole fucking body, like his arms, everything was just fucking like raw. So I'm like, hey man, what happened to my dude? They're like, we had to give him a bath last night. I said, what the fuck did you use to wash him with? They were like, green scrubbies. So you know that green fucking pot scrubber thing?
Simple green, dude. Yeah, simple green.
They scrubbed his whole body with those scrubbies and rubbed all the fucking skin and hair off his whole fucking body, his legs. He was in pain. And so now for him, he started taking a shower. But I have heard cats not taking a shower, being stinky ass, and they just fucking throw you over the side of the ship. In the middle of the night, you just fucking go to the fantail and you disappear. And so, like, that sounds crazy. And people are like, oh shit. And I'm like, look, like in the Navy, they correct problems a little differently. Okay. And everybody's like, oh my God. And I'm like, it's just how it is. You're in a berthing with 48 dudes. You can't have a stinky dude. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The women, so like sometimes you'll be on a ship, like I was on a shitty ass oiler. It was fucking awesome. I loved it. And our water maker would go down. The thing, the evaporator that makes water would go down. So you couldn't have no fucking showers. Okay. So there was a period of like 4 months where we didn't have no showers on the ship. The only person that could take a shower were women on their periods. And I told y'all before, we had 80 of the finest women in the world. It was fucking awesome. And so like dudes would like, they be pissed. They couldn't take a shower. And like they turn the water on for 1 fucking minute. And it would cause a fist fight in berthing because they can't take a shower and somebody's in there too long. And so like, it's all these little like habitation shits on the ship that a lot of people just don't realize, like 18 man in a normal, like let's call it a 10 by 10 bedroom that's got 18 people sleeping in it, you know? So most of the time it's stink ass shit. And then the other one that'll get you is a motherfucker stealing shit.
Oh, I'm sure that happens all the time.
Well,
yeah. Well,
Jake, you're not going to believe this, but I found a video of exactly what you're talking about here.
Oh man.
I'm sorry about the delousing, Rod. It's standard procedure.
It's powdered sugar.
The lice hate the sugar. Listen, Rod.
It's delicious.
Yep, that's what I'm telling you. And that's exactly what they look like, a fat, dumpy dude, man. Fat, dumpy dude, ain't using no deodorant and shit, getting his ass whooped.
Oh, man.
We do have a super chat. I want to get it out of the way. It's just it's a quick one for Nate. So Nate, a new Bob Dole had a great recommendation here from the chat as I scroll to it. Would love for Nate to connect with the enthusiastic professor at Type 56, a story of China's army. He just had a collab with Ian McCullum from Forgotten Weapons. Could be a great convo.
Never heard of her.
What was the name before Ian McCullum?
The enthusiastic professor over at got a little bit of lag, so I'm scrolling through the chat here. So it was the enthusiastic professor at Type 56, the story of China's army.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we got multiple guys in here that know a little bit about China. Me, Ben, etc. Spend a lot of time in Southeast Asia and China. Go watch our episodes, guys. I'm not gonna, I'm kind of actually like, from a content creation standpoint, it would be awesome if we went to war with China. So guys like me and Ben are like, yeah, we got fucking all the experience in the world, right? It's like Jay was lucky to be in third group in the Middle East, so he's got all that experience. But it's like, I need some shit going on in Asia, right? Like pop that shit off, right? Because I don't know shit about the border. I pretend to a little bit, right? Like I know about the cartels in the Middle East. It's like, not really. I know mostly about Asia. So yeah, we could use some China popping off, but for now, I don't see anything going at this point.
Now, Ben, earlier you shared a story about, you and your team possibly having to jump into the ocean and swimming for it. This question revolves around stress. How do you guys personally deal with stress? Because I know in the military, there's a saying that, hey, when the bullets are flying, the bombs are going off, you revert back to your training, right? So if you have crappy training,
your lowest level of training, right?
Your lowest level of training, right? And if you did awesome training as a team, then that's what you're going to revert back to, right? I look at it the same concept as stress. Like when you get stressed out, you revert back to your default setting, whether it's panicking, whether it's screaming and yelling and getting emotional, like that's what you're going to do. We'll start with you, Ben, and then we'll circle the wagon. How do you deal with stress personally?
Yeah, so I think one of the most important things is really to focus on what you can control and try to take accurate and effective action on the things you can control to, change the situation. You're always going to feel better and feel less stressed when you start taking action. So no matter what it is, you start taking action on the things you can control to make the situation better, you're going to feel better. The next thing is really, in the mental space, having that unstoppable, resilient mindset. And I think a big thing is, you have to take the actions to fix the problem and give it all you got, go 100%, all the effort you can. But then you have to really detach from the outcome, because sometimes problems take longer than you think to solve them. And so the thing about stress is that it can actually kill us, right? There are a number of ways it can do that. One of them is through stress breathing that leads to a hypoxic state in our cells and can cause disease and sickness and all these things when we're not breathing right. The next thing is, causing stress on our heart, causing a heart attack. These are real things, right? So it's okay. For me, the way I look at it is okay to be depleted and exhausted, but I can't attach myself, my innermost self, my identity to these things that are external that I can't control. Anything that's external to you, you're attaching your identity and your self-worth and everything. You're letting fear run rampant over things that, you can't control, and you're already taking action on them. It's going to cause unnecessary stress. So it's okay to be exhausted and depleted in the battle, but you can't let the stress get inside your core, if that makes sense. It's okay to be exhausted, go to bed exhausted, but don't let the stress become personal and pervasive. That means it's everywhere within you, and you also attach it to who you are. So that's my best answer for that.
Nate?
I mean, that's a great answer, what Ben just gave. For me, what worked for me personally was visualization, right? So what I would always do, you're talking about dive, halo, whatever, you headed up to fucking altitude, you're getting ready to jump out over the ocean, in Okinawa, doing fucking water jumps and crazy shit that is going to be, it's super stressful. For me, if I were to sort of let that stress take over my mind, then I would sort of spiral out of control. So what I would do is visualization. So I would run through every action I'm going to do from the time I'm going to stand up from that seat in the aircraft, every procedure and Jake's going to know this, Ben's going to know this, Aaron's going to know this. With dive procedures, it's all the same. I'm just going to run through in my brain, close my eyes, every single step that I'm going to do in that process from the time I hook up, check my buddies, check my own equipment, step to the end of the ramp, dive, quarter turn, pull, all those things out the ramp. And I just run through that visualization over and over and over again in my head as I'm preparing to do it. And it doesn't allow sort of that stress to take over my brain, because I'm running through what I'm about to do visually and mentally before I actually do it. And for me, that was always one of the best things that helped me sort of stop that stress from taking over control. Because I'm sure all you guys know, like, we like to say, as soft dudes that do all this crazy shit, that like we don't get scared. I was fucking terrified when I was at 18,000 feet in the middle of the fucking night, jumping out into the ocean under fucking nods, right? Every single time, hundreds of jumps in. We all were at the end of the ramp, but that was the biggest one for me. And then for me, it's always been this way. Once I've sort of exited the aircraft or gone under the water or whatever it is, that's sort of been the break point to where the stress goes away, right? Because I visualized it. I did it over and over and over again in my head. And now I'm doing it for real. And the stress sort of just melted away from that point. So for me, the stress was mostly the build up to the event rather than the event itself.
Nate, why do you automatically assume that I don't know dive procedures, bro? Like, really? I don't, but
you never told me that.
It's okay. The free
No,
fall guy,
I don't.
This is very inside baseball, but Nate mixed free fall and static line procedures. He talked about standing up and hooking up and then checking the equipment and then jumping out, doing a quarter turn or whatever. That's static line and free fall at the same time, but you wouldn't know unless you were a jump master. So you missed that one. Big deal.
Aaron, how do you handle stress?
Yeah, man, I'll give you something for in the moment, man. I used to do this with our PJs when they were going through medical, because we just make them do crazy medical scenarios all the time, like too many patients, too much stress, whatever. And when you can see them get stressed, the easiest thing to do is like land nav. Go back to your last known point where you're comfortable, right? So for medicine, I would have people go back like, hey, you're getting completely stressed and this patient's overwhelming you. Just go back to your March algorithm. Dude, is he bleeding? Just go back to M. Okay, I know what to do with M. And basically that takes you to a moment where you're like, wait, I'm in control again. Because stress, you start feeling out of control and then you get overcome by events. My big piece of advice there is like, go back to something that you know, revert to that algorithm that you've trained over and over and over again. Stuff really isn't that hard if you break it down to its task and pieces, just like Nate said, right? You don't put body armor on after you get hit. You put your body armor before the mission. So if you train that algorithm and you can get to a known point where you feel like you're in control, it can reset you in that moment. And then you can go, okay, wait a second. All right, now I know this patient isn't bleeding. I've checked all these other interventions. Now I can handle this more intense stuff. And if you apply that to everything, just like Nate said, man, it's, you know, if you're in free fall and you're tumbling and you're starting to get stressed and you're starting to freak out, well, maintain your arch, get a good body position, get your belly to earth, check your altitude, check around you and make sure that you're not inside in someone else's airspace, and then go from there. Just go to a point that you can control, break that cycle, and then just reinsert yourself.
Jake?
So I'm going to talk a little bit about something that I know Ben's very familiar with. So I got to SEAL teams in 98. I want to say it was 99. Eric Kapitulik, one of my classmates from the Naval Academy, Force Recon dude. They were in a 46, and the 46 hooked the catch net around the flight deck. It flipped over into the ocean. 13 people drowned. Eric Kapitulik swam up from like 100 feet. And so it was interesting because in the SEAL teams, and I know everybody in the same room has the same deal, whatever you're doing today has killed somebody. After like probably a year and a half, 2 years in the SEAL teams, you know somebody that's died doing exactly what you're doing. And so like everybody has said, like for me, it was just super preparation, right? Like one of the things I did for all waterborne operations, instead of having a seeds bottle, which is the thing Ben talked about last week, it's a little bottle. It gives you like 3 to 4 breaths. Like it's good to help you out. But I was like, man, this is fucking stupid. Like I'm going to get a 20 pony bottle, right? Like it's a little scuba tank in my backpack. I sat at 15 feet. I could breathe for 20 minutes on it with a regulator. So I had a pony bottle in my assault pack at the bottom. I had a regulator that I custom made, a little hook thing that sat right here. All I had to do was put it in my mouth. I turned it on every time I got on a bird. We're doing like VBSS stuff. The other thing, I always took a split second to make sure that I was in contact with whatever the fuck I was trying to do. Whether that meant grab the rope, rappel, like just like Nate was saying, I'm going through all my procedures leading up to like whatever I'm going to do. And then the other thing I'm going to tell everybody, my mind was in the game 100% when I stepped in the fucking building and I knew I was going to do some bad shit, right? Like there was never any fuckery going on because the guys that I saw got in a way were fucking around and not giving the job its reverence. And then the fucking man snatched them out the fucking world. So like kind of the same simulation, but like for me, I just made sure my shit was fucking airtight. You know, my seeds bottle, like all the VBSS, like the seeds bottle, we talked about short hands on the rope, all that shit. And then, you know, I didn't do shit that was stupid. Like we're jumping at Fentress. Fentress was a really narrow drop zone. They put people in the trees every fucking time. And the wind's blowing into the fucking trees. And I look out the bird and we're over the fucking trees. And I'm like, no, I'm not jumping. Fuck you.
Don't you blame that jump master. You are the camping commander. Don't you blame
dude,
he didn't put you in the trees. You steered in the trees, homie. All my jump master bros out there.
Listen, Aaron, when an officer kanks a jump in the fucking stick, you better believe you better be fucking right because they are fucking coming for the whole way down. The motherfuckers are in my face. Like, you better be fucking right. You fucking don't stop no jump. And then we landed on the ground, and 4 out of those 5 guys that were in front of me were in the fucking trees. And everybody kind of looked at me, and I didn't say shit, right? That you don't fucking start opening your mouth then. You just like, yeah, motherfuckers. Same reason I had a fucking tree rappel kit in my pocket. I made a tree rappel kit so that I could get out of the fucking harness when they put you in a tree, and I could get out of the tree on a 60-foot little like Spectre cord rappel kit in my pocket. Everybody would laugh at me for that shit. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Till you're fucking up there and you're in a wheelchair for 3 fucking weeks because your legs were numb because you were in a harness for fucking 3 hours.
Dude, I will say that jump masters can be wrong. I had a really good friend of mine. He was a fully qualified JM. We were jumping out of a 46. It was pretty cool. We were jumping the static line, but it was the worst possible scenario, right? He looks at the light. It's red. He goes back to spotting, and as soon as he spots, the light turns green, and you're supposed to go. And we're all in the stick, and we're like, Elliot, that light, like all of us are sitting there like on our static lines, like, dude, we gotta go here. And it's funny because he does this long spot, and then he looks up and he sees the light's green, and he doesn't realize it's been green for a long time. And he was just like, oh yeah, let's go. And we're like, oh God, I was at the end of the stick, hardest lane. I actually cracked my Mitch helmet. I landed on like this pad, this concrete pad. It was this big, beautiful, like plowed cotton field in Georgia. We were jumping with the 160th. And as I'm coming down, I didn't even try to steer. There was no way out of it. I just crossed my arms. I was like, and then I just smacked the ground.
I can
Now, Nate. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go,
Nate,
go ahead, Ben.
Just really quickly, I mean, example. Sorry, Nate, I didn't know you to go yet. Just like public speaking, I think that's probably the closest thing right now that I'm dealing with like some fear factors. I've gotten to the point where I'm very comfortable with it, but I think the only way you get there is, one thing is to do it a lot. Number two is preparation, huge preparation. And then again, like, letting go, having the confidence that you have command of your material, connection, like with the audience, and so preparation plays a huge key, but then again, that detachment comes in too. You give it all you got, absolutely sell out with everything you have. And then, just know that with the growth mindset that you can come back, obviously some combat things that's different. Some of the high risk stuff where, you figure it out or you don't, or you're dead. But like, especially where, you are going to survive it, definitely public speaking. With the growth mindset, it gives you kind of that, you don't have that no fail mentality, like where, oh my God, if I don't speak as well as the best person in the universe today, then I suck and I'm terrible. You give it all you got, you walk back, you go ahead and analyze and assess and get better and improve and see ways you can improve. But you got to be kind to yourself too when you're doing hard things. I mean, that's like I had a chance to work with Trent Dilfer before in the Elite 11 Super Bowl quarterback from the Baltimore Ravens. And he would always say, do hard things and be kind to yourself in the process, because, if you beat yourself up, then you're not going to want to do these hard things anymore. So I think, as you're doing hard things with the stress, if you personally overstress yourself and it's inherently stressful, you're going to stop doing it. There's so much pain attached to it. You're going to stop doing it. And you might kill off your dream or kill off your goal, the thing you really want to do. So just wanted to add that. Now,
Nate, the military intentionally put us through stress, right? To mimic combat so we can, like you said earlier, we'll revert back to what Lewis training. So we have to go through different elevations of stress, different full mission profile to make sure that we're ready for combat. What advice would you give to people that aren't in the military that are watching us now? Should they intentionally go put themselves through stressful area, a situation, and go through the process of dealing with stress? And what type of stress should they be looking at? Like, what would you recommend to a 19-year-old boy that's not in the military but needs to build his mettle?
So, I mean, Ben just kind of even caveated that, right? He's talking about public speaking. How many people in the professional world, whatever you're doing, teaching, business, military, have to do public speaking? And for me, that was one of the most terrifying things that I had to learn. And it's just stress inoculation. So I tell this to people all the time: inoculate yourself with the stress. If public speaking to you is terrifying, which it was to me, I used to get in front of the team as a junior E5 and brief, and like my hands would fucking shake right in front of my ODA as I briefed my team sergeant. But they made me do it over and over and over and over again. And they just inoculated me in that stress. And I started to gain a little bit of confidence each time I did that. And then eventually now I got a YouTube channel. I do public speaking. Now it's supernatural to me, right? It's like, it's not something I even think about. But if you do not inoculate yourself to that stress, whatever it is, whatever you're doing in life, right? In the business world, in your professional world, your career, you're never going to elevate yourself to the next level. You just won't, because it's not going to come natural to you. You're not just going to break past that stress point, like, oh, I'm just going to get up and give a brief to, the CEO of this company I'm working for, and I've never done it before, and it's going to be great. Like that's just not how it works. We all know that. So for everything, yes, put yourself in stressful situations. If you're scared of something, go do it. The more you do it, the less stressful it's going to get, the less fearful it's going to get. And eventually it's just going to be something that you get good and you're natural at. But you are not, it's like lifting weights, right? It's like fitness. It's like everything else. If you don't inoculate your body to whatever you're trying to do to get better, you're never going to get better. So that would be my advice, is anything you're afraid of, especially public speaking or whatever you're doing, just do it. Go do it. Get in front of the class. Get in front of the class and do it. I tell, I'm finishing my MBA program right now, and there's a lot of kids in the class that are super terrified of public speaking in front of the class. And I tell them, just don't hide behind the team group. There's 6 of us in a group, and I can get up there and brief the fucking team project for everybody every single time. But those of you who've never done it and you're terrified of it, just get your ass up there and do it. Especially in like non-threatening environments and stuff like that, just go do it. So that's my advice. Inoculate yourself to the stress, and the stress will get less and less and less every single time. And with that, boys, my wife is going to fucking kill me.
Time for him to leave.
For her birthday.
I appreciate it.
All right, love y'all.
HH6.
See you,
All
brother.
right, take care,
See you
Jake.
guys later. All right. Cheers, guys.
I'll give you one last little story dovetailing off what Nate was saying too. I remember, so when I was at the National War College, a lot of smart people in my class, right? These are like, they're really very highly qualified people from every service. We had British member of parliament in my class, government officials, State Department, people going to Yale, Harvard, you name it, like really, really smart people going into national security studies, and all studying to get this Master of Science in national strategy creation, national strategy making, right? Okay. So we get these big speakers in there, and sometimes it'd be like someone like Secretary Mattis, it'd be like these professors, it'd be like some pretty famous people within the national security, international relations, area, different, sometimes politicians, things like that. Long story short, the professors would offer you extra credit if you got up and asked a question. Now there are a couple hundred people in there, right? So I can attribute just what Nate's saying to like how I can get now in front of large audiences and hold them for, a full hour and 15 minutes and do Q&A and all that. And I feel really good. Like he's saying, once I start, I'm great, man. I love it. Honestly, I'm in my element. I'm in my water, it's great. But the first couple of times I did that, asking a question in front of all these people who are just as capable as me, just as smart, I definitely, I had to gather myself, and I'm going to speak for 30 seconds, a minute, trying to give the context to give the question and sit down. Right. But the first few times, it sounds funny because I was already used to public speaking, but in this group, it was different because I felt these were all my peers, and they knew exactly what I was talking about. They knew the material. So I really had to gather myself. But again, it was just like he was saying, stress inoculation. The more I did it, the better I got. By the end of the year, I made it a point to every week make sure I stood up at least once and asked a question. And it was more about me, getting the stress inoculation like Nate was talking about than it was anything else. And by the end, I really felt good with it, felt comfortable. So again, like I say, do hard things and, step into that fear every time, and you're going to improve and get better. And then it's not so bad because you realize you're okay. You're going to do well. And even if you mess up, that's okay too. You'll do better next time. So.
Awesome. Bobby, how do you handle stress, man? Like, how do you?
Oh, yeah. Jake, I got something for you, buddy.
Bobby Olive.
I just want to let everybody know. Jake talked last week about spearing a girl with a harpoon. Okay? It's a horror story to believe, but what I'm going to tell you is I found a picture of it. I investigated, and there is a photograph of it. With your permission, Jake, can I show it?
Go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead, Bobby.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and show y'all Exhibit 1. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Why do we keep
everybody in the chat? You can pick this up for $39.95. And I'll get him to sign it for you. Piece of history right there. God. And I got one more I'm going to need an answer on. Why, when I look up your name, are you in a thong? I look kind of ashy. I was just
hey, Bobby.
Ashy
I was in
Larry
the
out
Arctic Circle in the middle of a blizzard in minus 60-degree weather, and I had made.
No, I watched the deal on it. I thought it was pretty cool, but that picture, I was like, man, what's he doing?
Hey, wait! I just want everybody to know he changed his 2 shoulder pictures from Nate or from Jay and from Aaron to the American flag now.
Well, now actually, I got that. That flag is very special to me. There's no money in the world can buy that flag. I carried it in my pocket in OEF too. The whole time in my platoon signed it. You know, a lot of them are, half of them are gone now. So it's very special to me. Now, I do have something over my other shoulder here that Jay gave me as a memento from a friend of his. And it's even signed.
What you got?
I'm going to pull it down because it's for sale too.
Not Bo Bertdahl.
This is Bo Bertdahl, man. That's got your name right there. It says, to Jay, thanks for being there, your boy, Bo B. This is for sale to people. $49.95. I will give a certificate of authenticity with it.
I never thought that we were going to be a show that had bits, and then we started inviting Bobby all around. You know what, Bobby?
Bobby is our fucking Duck Dynasty resident fucking superstar, bro.
I don't even like Dynasty. No, I can be serious most of the time. So what I was going to reiterate is the way I always dealt with things, especially with speaking or anything else. One, I would over prep, so I would be the smartest guy in the room. And then secondly, I would always do something to try to break the mood with everybody with some sort of humor or whatnot and wit. Usually if I did that and I know what the hell I'm talking about, there ain't nothing can stop me. And after, a couple of times, you have a lot of confidence in it. I'm not the speaker that Aaron is down there, but everybody always enjoyed it. I try to make everything I talk about relatable to somebody in some sort of way. And that's always been my deal. As far as fear, I run about 1,000 scenarios through my head, all the way to the point of somebody running in with a damn gun. Like I done already planned it out. I know that might sound weird to a lot of people, but I mean, shit, I might as well have a plan when it's ready. I already know what I'm going to say, actually, all actions, etc. So that's just a lot of planning, and it might be ADHD too. So whatever.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, Bobby.
I appreciate
it. I know it was last minute, but like I said, you're always welcome, man. Especially
the only reason I came, I'm gonna be honest with you, is I kept reading all these damn messages about these girls talking about this guy Ben and his hair, and somebody said something about him. Somebody said something about Zorro. Like, I mean, I was like, I got to meet this dude, man.
Well, Ben, this is Bobby.
Hey, good to meet you, Bobby.
That's J-Lo's #1 right there, boy.
Somebody said that I look like Ben in 10 years if I tried really hard, and I have laughed at that really fucking hard for a long time. They're like, Aaron, you look like Ben if you actually tried really hard for like 10 years.
Oh, shit. Speaking of Aaron,
here we go.
I didn't even know this was you at first. And I was like putting 2 and 2 together, and I was like, this motherfucker played football. Y'all can buy these too.
Hey, that's the wrong Aaron, dog.
That's not the right guy.
That's the wrong Aaron, dog.
Oh shit!
I will say that Aaron.
He got Aaron Garcia.
It's Aaron Hernandez, you racist.
Aaron Hernandez.
I will say that Aaron Hernandez died doing what he loved, which was killing people. So that's at least.
Well, I mean, I make mistakes too. So I mean, I own up to them.
All right, let's transition into the next story, guys, which is a bribery case. So this one is interesting, right? So a retired U.S. Navy admiral who served as the vice chief of naval operation and later commanded U.S. Naval Force Europe and Africa is facing federal bribery and conspiracy charges. Prosecutors allege that in 2021, while still on active duty, Burke directed a $355,000 Navy contract to Next Jump, a leadership tracking company led by co-CEO Charlie Kim. In return, he allegedly secured a post-retirement position at the company with a $500,000 annual salary and 100,000 stock option. The indictment claims Burke misled the Navy about the timing and nature of his employment. Discussion with Next Jump. Ben, you ever been approached with a situation like this where you were offered money in order to sway any contracts or to win favors of civilian companies? And if not, what are your thoughts about this entire situation? Should officers be able to do this?
No, 100% not. I mean, I think it's you know, I've never been approached by that. I think I want to say that I was around you know, deployed around Southeast Asia and on and off ships, things like that, during the Fat Leonard thing. Jake's shaking his head too, yeah, because I think we all around that time frame. So I think I actually may have actually seen the dude, the Fat Leonard guy, and I heard about the whole fallout from that. So I mean, you know, all kinds of problems arise from it, but you know, I do know one thing for sure. Like when I served in a diplomatic position and I was working out of embassies, things like that, and kind of some of the international relations assignments as an attaché. One of the things when we went through training that we were discussed and warned about was how, you know, foreign government officials will approach you, or FIS, right, foreign intelligence services, and they're trying to find some type of chink in your armor, or some type of compromisable part of you, so that they can get you to do their bidding. And a lot of the times, even though they have, you know, compromat on you or whatever, you know, something to compromise you with, they'll also then follow it up with a bribe too. So they're driving the wedge in deeper and making it not seem so bad, because now you're making a choice, you know, as well to get some type of you know, some type of compensation to do the things. And it can be something as simple as pushing a visa through, and that's usually the tip of the wedge, right? So unfortunately for, you know, senior officers, these temptations are real and they have these things out there, but you know, the truth always comes out, and a lot of the times they get found out eventually. And you know, and it's really it's bad all the way around for them, but especially for the force too. So, you know, and I had a lawyer I worked with once, you know, judge advocate general, and they talked about why people do things like this. And sometimes it's again in position of power, as they get bored. They get to the top and they realize, like, really, this is it. This is all there is. I'm at the top now. I've been in this whole time, played the game, and it's not as good as I thought it was. And they realize the career's ending. All these things start playing with their heads. And that's why you see, you know, kind of the generals and admirals gone wild. I mean, it's not common, but when it does happen, it's pretty spectacular. So that's been my encounters, my experience with it.
Jake, you were in the Navy. You know all about this.
So I'm going to say this: bribery is used all over the world. It's just in America that we got like an issue with it, right? So Fat Leonard was over there. He was the shore guy. So like when a ship pulls in, there's a bunch of money changes hands. And that dude was setting it up for all of his people, and he's taking bribes all over the place. He was a commander, Filipino commander. He had all the ports wired up. Like, he's just trying to make some scratch on the backside. Here's what I'm going to say about Navy acquisitions. So you think about it, like in Navy acquisitions, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamic, a couple of the big companies have $500 billion worth of contracts, right? And the guys in control of those contracts are these 4-star generals or 4-star admirals. And normally what they do, they go take another job for like 12 to 18 months. Then they go get the bag at the company they were set up with. They don't just step out the door into the bag company. Like, but this goes back to what we talked about a long time ago. Like, all these motherfuckers think they're smarting everybody, and none of them do any criminal shit. So they always think, oh, no one will notice. It's a little small $2 million deal. I'll be okay, right? Like, I got a dude that's in acquisitions doing, you know, $15 billion of deals. Absolutely, General Dynamics going to hire him when he gets done, because he's going to be a 2-star admiral, 3-star admiral, and he's going to have every connection that General Dynamics needs to get the new littoral warfare ship into General Dynamics. So it's we're sitting here talking about the fucking chicken and the egg, because everybody is doing it. It's fucking dirty both ways. It just is what it is. Like, unless you allow the admirals not to have a job after they graduate in acquisitions, that literally is the number one reason to go in acquisitions, to get the big, fat, cushy job when you get out.
Bobby?
Oh, man. Okay. So it's pretty much a given. And the thing is like, even with these retired generals and all that shit, because all of them crooked, all of them taking money, they all want to be consultants. Every one of them that retires is a consultant. And the thing is, the emulance clause of the Constitution requires, retired military officers to receive congressional approval before accepting compensation from any foreign government. And I want to say right now, I think it's like 600 retired officers are taking foreign money. I know at least 400 are taking Saudi money. I'm not saying they fucking terrorists, but I still think it's ethically fucking wrong. Okay. You got Lloyd Austin, who was sitting on the board of fucking General Dynamics and walks over and is made the secretary.
Portfolio. Lied about it. Never divested from any of his investments while he was in. Lied about it. Got caught lying about it. And it was like, oh, my baby.
Fucking Mattis did it too. People pump him up to the top, but I have a very big hatred for Mattis because I remember what he did to some fifth group guys and wouldn't fucking evac them when they were hurt. They had to wait for some guys to come all the way from Tajikistan to get them out. He had the assets right there and was like, nope. Anyway, it's a fucking problem. It ain't nothing ever going to change it. That dude right there, that's petty shit. I'm surprised they even fucking with him. He done made somebody mad. Myself, I've never been on that level of bribery. The biggest I ever pulled off was I gave the supply guy a 30 box of beer and he let me get a whole case of magazines. And I went and sold them to a gun shop up in Virginia, but I was private back then.
Now they're
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Oh,
I got a good bribe. I traded somebody 5 cases of beer for $10,000 in brass, and it was a good one, but it didn't go nowhere. We funded the Christmas party with it for 2 years. So
I can tell y'all where the largest cache of fucking munitions is right now, and it's behind the motor pool of the 504 in Area J. And instead of turning that shit in, everybody throws over the goddamn fence. There's probably 600,000 or 700,000 rounds of 50 cal out there right now.
They're going to call me for investigation.
Yeah, what it is.
You heard it firsthand, didn't you,
I'm
Pappas?
snitching on everybody. I'm going to ask if there's a fucking reward.
You want that 10% finder's fee for snitching on the snitches?
Whistleblowing, baby. That's what we call it. Not snitching, whistleblowing.
Yeah, those pictures ain't going to be so funny when everybody on the podcast rolls over on your ass, Bobby Oliver.
Bring your ass on. I already work with the FBI because I know they're listening right now. Yes.
Hey, listen to this one. I didn't realize this. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. I should have brought it up as a major topic because I think this is absolutely just fucking awesome. So 2012, 2013, up here at Twin Peaks, right outside of Austin, massive biker shootout. 9 people got killed, 150 bikers fighting, right?
Hells Angels and Mongols. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, bro. Nobody snitched and they dropped all the charges. Yep. I was like 150 dudes. How fucking special is that?
At least they hit somebody.
I want to say like 6 people got killed. How many? I'll look it
9.
up.
The goddamn Rangers had that shootout up in fucking Washington. Didn't nobody get hit?
No, well, listen. They wasn't trying to hit nobody. Okay,
shit, I would have. I'm shooting.
They wasn't trying to like. I was there when that happened. I knew that area. I knew that AO like the back of my hand. They wasn't trying.
Man, they talk about that shit like it's an urban legend.
No, it's true. It's real fact.
No, I know
got
it's
shot
true.
like 6 months after that. So like real talk. Like
stealing car stereos.
No. I wasn't. I actually when I got shot, I was just kind of standing around. I was pissing, but like. Yeah, the whole Ranger shit. Like when I talked to my boys about that shit, they were like, "Yeah, man, they weren't trying to kill nobody because they were in elevated shooting positions in the fucking 3rd floor, top floor, out of the attic, fucking sandbagged in firing positions, and they knew if they started killing people, they were gonna get in trouble, so they just shot up everybody's shit."
Aaron, what are your thoughts on this bribery case?
Man, it's already been said, man, but nothing, money and power corrupt, and nothing corrupts more absolutely than a lot of money. Like people start to see it. Like we already hit all the points, man. Like you get bored, you start looking for some other stuff to do. You think that you find a way, like, oh, no deal, no. Like you see it all the time. Like, we had a very famous colonel that basically he was in charge of the assessment and selection program, and he was like decimating their manning. He's like, oh, we don't need all these active duty positions. We don't need all these active duty positions. And they're like, all right, I mean, we can always do it with whatever. Lo and behold, that guy, as soon as, I mean, I'm talking like Friday to Monday, he just puts on a suit, and then suddenly he's the head of an organization that's like, hey, I know you guys' manning really sucks, and you guys are at like 70% of manning. You know what we can do? We can give you civilian contractors in order to help you guys run these courses because I know the manning's bad. And literally everybody was like, boy, that feels fucking illegal, does it not? Like that doesn't seem like you should be able to do that, but it happens so much, man. It's like, you know, I laughed at this guy, you know, at the end of the Biden administration is when this whole case popped off. And maybe he did piss somebody off, but we actually need people. The only thing that dissuades folks like this, like people that have been untouchable, like when you get a star, man, unless you're diddling the exec, you're untouchable as these dudes, these political appointments. So until you have some way that you can basically make them avoid doing stuff like this, like unless you can deter them, you have to have these high profile cases that come out. Fat Leonard apparently wasn't enough. So this guy needs to learn a lesson so that we try to avoid it. But man, it's so pervasive. I just don't even know what to say about it.
Gotcha. I'll ask this last question and then I'll kick it over to you, Aaron. I had a call with a young man today. He was trying to figure out if he should go to college or not. And there's been a lot of hoopla on the internet about college, if it's a scam, and if kids should go to college nowadays. What are you guys' personal thoughts about college? Should a 18-year-old young man that is trying to figure out what to do with his life, should he be looking at college? If he was your son, what advice would you give him? We'll start with you, Ben.
Well, you know, here's the thing, right? So a lot of the counter argument today is this, right? Actually, it's probably the main argument that don't go to college. It's a waste of money. You're not going to use it. All these things like that. So that's kind of the big internet talk, right? TikTok, Instagram, everyone's saying it. I've got a 19-year-old who's in college right now. So we talk about all these things. But Mark Cuban came out, had a great video, and he's like, yeah, you're not Elon Musk and you're not fucking Zuck. You're not. He's like, so you want to learn something? He's like, you're going to get the pile of books and you're going to study like you would in a 4-year degree? He's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not one of these dudes. He's, I'm just sorry. Maybe one of you are out of 10 million, maybe 100 million. He said, but most of you aren't. He said, you're going to need the discipline, the pressure to learn the things and the skills you need to learn in order to become the person you want to be. So unless you have that kind of structure around you, he's like, I totally say go to college, bust your ass, learn how to study, learn the scientific process, the scientific experimentation of, cause and effect and all these things like that. Study and get the skills necessary and try to pick something that you really are going to try and use. And if you don't, you're going to learn how to work hard. You're going to learn how to study. You're going to learn how to communicate better. It was really a refreshing look. And if you already know what you want to do and you want to go in the trades, and it's not, and I wouldn't say so much it's college itself, but you got to grow and you got to get educated. You got to keep learning. I was watching this thing with Alex Hormozy the other day. He's just did $250 million of business this past year, right? This guy used to be a rock star consultant, came out of the Ivy Leagues. He spent, since he's left his MBA program, spent $500,000 on courses, certifications, coaching, all these things to learn. And he's ferocious. He's a voracious reader. So I think no matter what you do, the overarching theme is this. If you're going to do it yourself, okay, that's fine, but you really have to push. You can't look at college can't be just a good time. If you want to get ahead and you want to be top notch, you want to be an elite performer, then you got to do what elite performers do and not what bullshit people do. So that whether you go to college or you don't, the great thing about college is that puts you on a 4-year problem that if you stick with that and you go to no kidding, you really try, you're going to learn how to study. You're going to learn how to set goals, how to organize your time, how to get through a massive amount of material. And you wouldn't have that any other way unless at home you had a family that taught you these things. Most people, we don't learn that, how to have a 4-year goal and how to go through all of these blocks and the studying, how to break the elephant down into biteable chunks. The overarching thing is, again, your learning and your growth. And I think Mark Cuban he said it best when he's like, look, the structure they provide and the pressure they provide on you with the gateways and the quizzes, the exams, the milestones, the peer pressure, everyone doing what you're doing. He said, you're not going to get that when you go off and you say you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to crush it. He's like, okay, really? Okay, let's see. Most entrepreneurs, okay, let's be real. 95% of people that start businesses fail in the first year, okay? Of that 5% that keep going, right? There's 5%, now becomes 100%. within the next 5 years, like 75% of them fail. Okay. So if you make it past the 5-year mark as an entrepreneur, you're doing things pretty damn good. This is a very, very low success rate. So make no mistake about this. It's not easy. And there are my 2 cents there.
Jake?
Oh yeah, baby. Let's
Yeah,
go.
you know,
So,
pot boy was stewing the whole time.
I got a young man that wants to be a YouTuber, right? 13-year-old, I want to be a YouTuber, Dad. So that's great. Well, you going to college, and I'm not going to college, Dad. Okay, cool. You better be making $1 million a year by the time you graduate high school, or you're going to college. And it changed everything. It changed everything real quick. He said $1 million a year. I said, yeah, like you're fucking coming out of a successful household. You ain't dragging the fucking Zwig name down, right? Like, you're gonna be better than me. You're gonna be better than your fucking mom. Like, you're gonna fucking raise the bar.
Fucking house of learning doctors.
Yeah, you're going fucking $1 million a year. And so it was interesting because all of a sudden his whole fucking focus shifted. He said, shit. So then maybe like 3 months later, I said, hey man, how's YouTube going? He's like, you know what? I think I'm going to go to college. I said, okay, you go to college, huh? He goes, yeah, man. He goes, $1 million a year is no joke. I said, yeah. So then I got a 9-year-old who's hungry for money. Same shit, right? I need money. He's saving for a Tesla truck. He's 9. He wants a Tesla truck. Okay. So when he turns 16, he got 7 years. He got the math down. He need to make some money. So we're refinishing the dresser. He said, Dad, how many of these dressers can I refinish in a year? I said, hey, bro, I don't know how good you are. You know, right now we've been working on this fucking dresser for a month. So it's not going real well. And I remind him, like, hey, man, we got to put the handles on. We're putting handles on this weekend. But I think it's one of those deals where college, if you come out of resources like Elon Musk did, or you're at Harvard, right, and you drop out of Harvard as a freshman like Bill Gates and fucking your boy Zuckerberg did, like that's a no-brainer. Okay, but for most of us, we're not in that situation. Like, I had a fucking drunk truck driving, beer throwing bottle motherfucker at dinner every day. And he would be like, where the fuck are you going to college? How are you going to pay for it? Every day I got to ask the same question at the dinner table. And my only way out was to go to the Naval Academy. And once I got there and it fucking sucked dicks, and I was like, God damn, this is awful. Ooh. And all I had to do was sit there, and I had to get through it, right? Like, I didn't have a choice. If I went home to Silicon, Washington, my dad would have fucking murdered me, bro. Like, no, like, he might have shot me. Like, he'd have been like, no, fuck you. You can't come here. No, you fucking go live in the woods. I don't give a fuck. No, so I just tell people, like, a lot of, like kind of like Ben was saying, if you come from a lot of money and you can turn that shit over and you're going to get handed a $10 billion company, then fuck, you don't need to go to college, okay? But for the rest of us fucking Americans that are trying to drag our asses out of fucking poverty and fucking mayonnaise sandwiches and fucking one piece of cheese, fucking
mustard
bread.
Sandwich, baby.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, like, brother. Mustard ain't got no meat. You just got mustard on the bread, or your fucking that imaginary box of 5-pound government
gumming
cheese.
Up in your teeth. I mean,
yeah, like then you got to go to college. Like, you go to college to try to get ahead, man. Like, I went and got a master's degree to try to get ahead. This shit has helped me get fucking ahead. And here's the one thing that we didn't talk about, that Ben is saying about: the people you're around in college are going to be successful. You are trying to find your wife that's going to be more successful than you. My wife is fucking a rock star. You know what she told me yesterday? So my kids are trying to fucking do some schoolwork and shit. I was like, man, fuck that shit. Let's watch Star Wars. She pulled me aside. Okay. You know, the new Star Wars came out and shit. I'm all like, yeah. She pulled me aside. She says, hey man, listen. She said, I'm trying to raise these motherfuckers with my study habits, not yours. I said, oh, okay. Yep, Sarah, I appreciate that. She said, yeah, will you let me raise? Hey, boys, we need to turn off Star Wars right now. I'm going to go outside. Turn off Star Wars, went outside. I said, fuck. But, like, that's what you're trying to get. You're trying to get somebody in the house to make you better. I know this. You don't go to college. You ain't going to get that shit at fucking working at goddamn McDonald's flipping burgers. We're talking to Susie and shit. Susie's making ice cream cones and shit. Hey, Susie, you want to have some kids? Yeah, it ain't the same fucking.
Shit, it ain't even young kids can get a job at McDonald's. Motherfuckers are 50 goddamn fighting for that job now.
Yeah. Bobby, college, what are your thoughts?
So I measure wealth a little different than most people. Money don't and I don't argue with anybody want to. They'll say, "Oh, somebody that's broke saying that." I ain't never been fucking broke. I can always hustle. I always had a way, and I get that because my dad did something. I hated my dad growing up. One, I had a big shoes to fill. Second, he had never once in my entire young life at the time, no matter what I did, he would never say you did a good job. He would tell you how you could have done it better. So I resented him to the point that I used anger as my motivation in everything I did because I was going to beat him. When all the other kids were going to fucking Disneyland and hanging out and all that shit, my dad had me out there rebuilding a motor, forcing me to do these things. A few years ago, he was talking to me. We sat outside and he said, he said, Joe, I'm sorry for how hard I was on you because I know how bad the world is. And I knew if you had enough skills and enough goddamn drive to work, you would always make it. And I had a different perception of it when I got older. Now he's my best friend in the world. But he set me up for success because everybody's not built for college. I can't sit there and keep my eyes open. I'm the guy in the back room sitting in a squat position the whole time in basic training. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not good with it. Hell, I fell asleep during malfunctions in jump school. I'm like, man, this is the one I got to stay awake up for. Anyway, what I'm getting is the world takes all kinds. I measure wealth as in experiences and life experiences. My pictures that I have, things people make for me are worth more than gold. I wouldn't trade them for any dollar amount in the world. I feel like the generation today is getting caught up in this influencers so badly. But what they don't see is if that son of a bitch walked through the door, they look just like everybody else. I mean, it's a lot of fucking manipulative and propaganda. And what I learned about people that are really rich or have wealth, or even we'll just say doing that damn good and they're doing it by themselves, they do not sleep. Never. And they're dedicated to that shit forever. I mean, they're married to it, basically. At some point in their life, they'll make enough where they can let go, but nobody's going to do it as hard and as good as they will. So that's why they don't just drop it off to anybody. But anyway, I'm sorry for rambling, but that's college is whatever. And I'll tell anybody in the comments that's listening, if you can't afford it, if that's what scares you, find places like Texas or whatnot where you can join the Guard or join the Army. Give something and get something. Get the hell out, and you got a GI Bill. You know, they'll foot the bill for you. You know, there's ways to do it. You don't have to go into debt.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that, Bobby. And Aaron will hit you last. But I know for me, for example, like when I started college, like I was horrible, man. Like my GPA was like 1.25. And I knew that I was a horrible student, right? I just, I didn't understand the English language. I'm still trying to figure that shit out, right?
Long ass sentence.
Yeah, dude. Like
that motherfucker just keep going.
Listen
I'm gonna throw a comment in anywhere.
Dude, everything was Jay just like read news stories. It's hilarious. You can hear him slow all the way down. He's like working through 3 languages in his head, trying to get it out.
I'm telling you that shit was not easy, right? But I tell you what I did do though. Like after my first semester, I passed English. I passed music and anthropology, and I failed English 101, and I failed everything else. And I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Like I'm out. So I went to the recruiter, joined the military. But I tell you what, it took me 6 years to get my bachelor's because I was using the tuition assistance program, and it was free, right? So as soon as I got to my unit, 1 class at a time. Because for me it was important because 1, it was free, and then 2, I had told myself like, hey, you know, like, yeah, you're from Haiti and all this stuff. Like, you will get your degree in order to prove something not only yourself but to your siblings. So it took me 6 years, but I got my my undergrad, and then 6 years later, like I was in student mode, and I was like, you know what, F it. The Army's still paying for it, tuition assistance. I'll get my MBA, and I just kept. It took me 12 years, right? But I was like, before I get out, I'm gonna have my undergrad and my MBA, and the Army paid for the entire thing. And again, if you're struggling as far as how to pay for it, there's options out there, right? For
Jay,
me,
you got to be like
just
one of the biggest rock stars of all time, man. This dude, the onion, you keep peeling it back, you learn more like unbelievable
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a piece of shit. I just quit going to college. Like,
I'm the biggest. I'm the laziest of everybody at this point. Jay, keep telling us, Jay, how your secrets.
Yeah, it was just one of those things. Like I had one, I wanted to do it because it was hard, and then but two, I knew it's gonna serve me later on in my Army career. Because sure enough, right about the time the Army started transitioning to education, NCOs and education, and the guys that were getting promoted had the degrees, right? So while everybody else was running and gunning with just a high school diploma, I was the one. Like I would do, like we ran commandos, so I would do 24-hour ops, come back, and I'm writing papers while everybody else is drinking and doing their stuff. Yeah. Because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be an E8 one day, and this is what's gonna put me over the top, right?
I mean,
so I just
goal oriented. I mean,
dude,
we had
like, yeah, that shit kept me from getting in trouble. But Aaron, how about you, man? Like, where do you see college? Because I know you have older kids. They're probably in college. What are your thoughts on that?
I do, yeah. So I got two in college, man. But you know, we had long talks about trade schools. Like, I want to put the plug out there for trade schools, man. Like, go if you don't think college is right for you, or you want to take a little break beforehand, man, go learn a trade. Be a plumber's apprentice. Be an electrician apprentice. Go be a carpenter apprentice. Go be one of these things that you actually get a valuable skill. Like, think about what at your house can you not live without? Well, it's Vegas and it's hot as shit out here. I can't live without my HVAC. So I pay somebody a premium to come over and make sure my little air conditioner is throwing snowballs 24/7 because I don't want to be hot in the house. If there is a need for that, and you can look at that, man, maybe that's a good, it doesn't have to be forever. You don't have to be a plumber for the rest of your life, but I'll tell you what, like those trades and those skills are important. So college isn't your only option, right? It used to be you have to go to college and get a degree and go into debt. And, you know, and then it morphed into this weird thing where brick and mortar colleges are handing out these ridiculous degrees like lesbian dance theory, and you're, you know, $300,000 in debt for some degree that you're never going to use. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. Now, what I will say is, you know, my daughter is tracking into pre-law. My son is tracking into pre-med. They set that goal for themselves. And after the conversation where I'm like, hey, do you really want to do this? You know what it entails? Both of them were set. And, you know, like lawyers and doctors, you got to go to school. Like, you have to go to an accredited college in order to get that certification. So I would just say open up the aperture. Great input from everybody else. Like, college isn't the end all be all. And if you're not ready, like I went to Ohio State, I failed out in 2 semesters. They asked me politely to leave thanks to my GPA, and I had to abide. And then September 11th happened. I still don't have an advanced degree. I got 3 community college of the Air Force associate's degrees from my training and from my college credits. If I have those 3 degrees and $5, I can go to Starbucks and get a coffee, but I better have that $5 with me, right? It doesn't mean you can't be successful, but you just really have to look at the risk benefit of what you're doing and then make it make sense. My brother, Danny, he was a part-time guard dude, and he went and worked at an HVAC company, and that paid great, even as an apprentice. Like, you don't have to get some low skill job. Like, yeah, you're going to have to sweep the floors and you're going to have to do hard work, but that's going to serve you later in life. Just like what Bobby was saying, like, get those skills, get those abilities, and then maybe college is always going to be there. It's not like academia is going somewhere. And I think you do need those connections and those advanced degrees, especially for the connections that they provide, because those people are successful. But do it when you're ready to do it. Don't think about it when you're 18. Look at trade schools. Look at those things that you can go to. Even being a paramedic or a nurse, like, you can find paramedic programs that'll get you on a truck working for good money at 18 months. You go to school for 18 months, you learn what you need to do, and you're out making money right away. There's trade schools that do the same thing. 12-month trade schools. You could be my brother Brian, before he got in the Army, man, he went to the National Auto Diesel College. He was a diesel mechanic. He was working for Snyder Trucks, and he was making good money. And then he felt called to serve, so he made that move later. But man, don't sleep on those trade schools, man. College isn't the end all be all.
Can I say something, Aaron? Because up until COVID, you know, I was a pipeline superintendent. I built pipelines in West Texas. On a 60-hour week, I usually bring home about $3,300. You can go out there and you can move fast. And I tell everybody the best way to do it is to start on the ground. And a guy out there on the ground, it's hot. The days is long. But on Friday, a helper out there is going to make about $1,600. So it's you want to be physical or do you want to sit in a room? You going to study that damn book or you don't want to go out there? Me, I don't look at it as in it's hard work. I look at it as in fucking exercise.
That changes everything. I think that's awesome too. Because here's the thing too. Couple quick things. Exactly what Bobby's saying. If you're not into all that and you want to do like what Bobby's doing, God bless you, do it. Now, what you got to do is know what to do with the money you get. Don't go blowing it. Investment. You got to invest. You got to have something that's building up wealth for you.
I preach
buy
to
real
boys
estate.
out
Keep
there.
it simple. Stocks, real estate, all this stuff. You got to learn about these things. I mean, I think it's really important. And I'll say this too. There's a company called Udacity, not a company, but it's a website, Udacity, founded by 2 Stanford professors in robotics and AI. This was a decade before AI even became something. They give you free training. You can do Python, all the coding you can imagine, quantum, everything. Okay. And then from there, after you go for a little while, you can pay as you go. And then with this Udacity degree, you get a computer science degree from Georgia Tech, or you can get an AI degree from Georgia Tech. They have a partnership with Georgia Tech now. And so, if you're trying to get into those fields, this is free. And again, the biggest difference between who's successful and who's not, success on your terms, we're not talking about money, we're talking about what your goals are. What is your vision for your life? And then the biggest differentiator is hunger. How hungry are you? Because if you can't go to Harvard to make the connections, you find a way to make connections another way. If you can't stand being in the classroom, like how am I make money? Bobby just gave you an example. There's a way to make money, being physical, being outdoors. I was the same. I couldn't stand school. I busted my ass to do it. Just like Jake, played football in college.
Looking out the window.
100%. But I was in college. I was in school, and the Marine Corps was fantastic for me. I loved it. I loved all the stuff we did. I loved all the action, all the zany people. And next thing you know, I'm spit out 23 years later. It was like that to me because it was super interesting, super cool people the whole time. So, I mean, I think hunger is the most important thing. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's hunger and desire to change, you'll find a way. There are a million ways to do it. Yeah, I mean, college isn't for everybody. I agree. But certifications, you got to make yourself better. You got to grow and you got to learn. You got to go after it.
The generation is missing a sense of accomplishment. Everybody here has got a sense of accomplishment from something they have completed, whether it was a military deal, whatever, however hard it was, when you pushed yourself to that last step and you finished, it was like the best feeling in the whole fucking world.
That's a great point.
And it can be anything small. I always tell people, if you start just finish it. It don't matter if it looks like shit, just finish it.
Yep.
The generations have gotten away from wanting to build to wanting to buy, and they don't have that sense of accomplishment anymore. And that's like the best emotion is the best thing in the world. You can't buy it. Like it can't be manipulated. So I just tell guys that all the time. It's like, and that's what I loved about doing those jobs is because they weren't monotonous, never ending jobs. There was an end goal. I can see that end down there and I'm just going to keep busting ass to it. And I'm scared of failure. I'm absolutely fucking terrified of failure. It's kind of the old saying a guy once told me. He said, you can train the hard as you want to all your life and never be no better than good. If everybody could be the fucking world champion, then it wouldn't be special. So everybody's not going to be Elon Musk. I'm sorry. Like, you're going to be a fucking plumber. It's just what's in the cars.
Be the best one you can then.
Hey,
be
Bobby, on
damn
that
good
plumbing
at
shit, I want to throw this in there. There's 100,000 people deficit in plumbing, electricians, and HVACs right now. 100,000 people are getting out of the job and not being replaced in the economy. I'm going to say this. This is a Gary Vee deal. In 10 years from now, plumbers, HVACs, and electricians are going to be making $200,000 to $300,000 a year because there's not going to be enough of them to do the work, and they can charge whatever the fuck they want.
Jake, didn't we just talk about this the other night on a phone call about plumbing company? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, they told us that when we were in school, if you didn't go to college, you're going to dig fucking ditches. And I'm like, shit, I made $180,000 when you're digging ditches. I know resident doctors, I was making more than they were.
Bobby, because to your point, social media has people wanting to drive Corvettes and Lamborghinis and Bugattis, but don't have any of the work ethic needed to get the money to actually buy them.
Yeah.
Everything that you spend, I try to teach my kids. I've got a 21-year-old daughter and I've got a 13-year-old daughter.
Wait, you have
And-
kids, Bobby? Oh, hell.
Oh yeah, yeah, bro. Like I can't even because mine decided to not go to school. She's like, I want to take a year off, and she want to go work at fucking Hooters because she's she's super gorgeous and loves attention. Anyway, I was like, girl, go finish the school, go through the school. I'll pay for the damn thing. This is your head start in life. If you don't go now, you'll probably never go. Yes, you're gonna be over there fucking working at Waffle House, telling them to drop 2 in the fucking ring. Okay. But she's got her ass in night school now. The youngest one fucking speaks 3 languages. She's ranked like 5th in the country in volleyball. That shit's expensive, by the way. Anyway, hell, I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, fuck, I forgot my whole damn train of thought. Anyway, I got kids.
Bobby,
yeah.
Welcome to the GWAT, baby. Welcome to the
Aaron.
GWAT.
Yeah.
Well, they told us all we were going to dig ditches. That's what I was talking about. Is they told all of us we would dig fucking ditches if you did not have a college degree. Because back at the Gap, if you didn't have money or your family didn't have money, you weren't going to fucking college. Your ass was going to Tyson fucking Food, or you were going to go weld on the line somewhere. But I've tried to explain to my kids, if you're not going to go nowhere, which most people end up back where they started, going home is always safe. The people you went to school with, you want to leave a good impression because those are going to be the fucking bankers and the business owners and all the people you have to go, and they'll always remember you from your high school times.
Amen.
That's the
to
person
that.
they'll remember.
Damn, that's some good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron, take us home.
All right, cool. M. Corbin, thanks for your super chat, brother. He works. He's a union auto worker, likes his job, likes his job security. It's a great example, man. Everybody needs car mechanics, whether it's EVs or not. So you're always going to have a job. So I tend to agree. And now on to the story that just won't die. I thought we were done with this one. I want to say first and foremost, why do they keep using this picture of my man, Pete Hegseth? He looks like he's looking at he's like tweedling his little fingers, looking at a donut or looking at some girl's booty or something. I don't know. We can't find it.
I got a whole theory about this thing too.
Here we fucking go. I'm sure you do. I got 75 text messages about it. So Pete Hegseth, this is the second part of the Signal chat. You'll remember that an Atlantic anti-Trump reporter by the name of Jeff Goldberg was added to a Signal chat incorrectly, and he didn't tell anybody that he wasn't supposed to be there and wrote a big hit piece about it. Well, now 3 to 4, depending on what source you're looking at, unnamed anonymous sources that were fired by Pete Hegseth came out and said, there's a second Signal chat. So basically on the Signal app, Pete Hegseth supposedly shared some secret details, as we're supposed to believe, although no one can define what's actually classified or bring an actual charge. And this has been going on for a month and a half. He said that they people knowing parts of the story, and I put that in quotes because, again, 4 anonymous sources, 3 or 4, depending on who you're talking to, and they haven't provided any evidence of these Signal chats as well, that Pete Hegseth, his lead counsel, which was one of his friends, so his main lawyer, and his wife, he may have shared some additional details. Here's the thing. Pete Hegseth isn't getting fired, and I'm going to show you exactly why, because Pete Hegseth is absolutely burning everything down inside of the Department of Defense. So today it broke that Pete Hegseth just decided to go ahead and fire all members serving on the Department of Defense Advisory Committee, which includes Susan Rice. So he's cleaning shop. They're going after leakers. One thing that I do want to say about this is that Trump 1.0 fired a bunch of people. He capitulated when media storm would raise up. If you got in Trump 2.0, if you basically got appointed and you got through the Senate confirmation hearings, like Matt Gaetz is the outlier here, he didn't actually get picked up. But if you got through there, Trump this time has basically been like, nah, I ain't firing everybody. So they're calling for Pete Hegseth to be fired. Jay, I'm going to open it up to you. So I seem to remember an event back in 2021 where we lost 13 service members at the gates of HKIA. My friends actually worked that mass casualty. Not a single general was fired for that. Not a single person was held accountable for that. Not a single investigation of any regard was looked into that. We lost 13 innocent American service members there, and not a single person from the mainstream media was calling for anybody to be fired. But now they're all hot and bothered over Pete Hegseth. What's your read on this one?
Jay's gone. Oh, he's
no, I'm back. Yeah. So as it relates to Pete Hegseth, so I just read an article by the NPR, and it was a fake news article stating that Pete Hegseth was going to get fired by Donald Trump. The funny thing about that is Bobby, you good?
Bobby, shit out of me, man.
Was that a dog? Was that hound?
I done got attacked lately, man. Like
that's a hound.
Bobby about to get eaten.
Now, based on what I read, so it's funny because the the president of NPR News, she just happens to be on the board of Signal, right? Which is where all these leak messages are coming from. So the theory out there right now is, oh man, did she leak the text messages on purpose to try to weaponize the media against Pete Hegseth and force the president's hand to fire him, right? So last week I've been studying that. I thought about bringing it on the panel, but I found out it was fake news. I was like, no, we're not doing that over here. But I think it's a big witch hunt, man. Like Pete Hegseth is no shit de-wokatizing the military. He is trying to get the Department of Defense where it needs to be. The Department of Defense has a $1 trillion budget. Could you imagine how much of that $1 trillion is making its way back into politicians' pocket? Probably a bunch, right? So with that said, they're going to do whatever they can to get him out of there because he's messing with their pockets. When you mess with anybody's pockets, they come for you. So I think it's just a big witch hunt. I don't think anything's going to happen to him. I just want him to keep doing work and keep getting the military where it needs to be.
Ben, I'm going to turn this one over to you, man. I'm a big outputs guy, right? When we look at everything that Pete Hegseth has done and we look at the uphill battle he's had to face, even to get the SecDef position and the initial smear with, of course, he's a younger white dude. So, of course, sexual assault allegations, which is the thing they always go to. And then he's drinking at work or he's a Fox News analyst. Listen, man, his output has been in the positive column the entire time he's here. From your position, and you've led at senior positions, right? How does somebody's output factor in to the decisions that you have to make when there could be some bad, this is all bad press, right? Whether we want to say, the initial Signal chats are out there. You can read exactly what they said. So everybody's opinion, we'll just leave that to the side right now. But when we look at somebody that's a lightning rod right now and you're getting political attacks, how important is somebody's outputs to you when you're making the decision to keep them on or let them go?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, everyone's gonna have problems especially when they're in charge and they're in a large organization like he's in right now. But I think the most important thing is for him to gather the team together, say, hey, this was wrong, right? He's going after to people that are leakers that have been, shown to maybe be a problem within the organization. And, that's his job to do that. That's his right to do that. But I think he's got to also make sure that he reinforces that in leadership, accountability is one of the most important things, and self-accountability is a big one, right? And he just comes forward and says, hey, I'm doing the job. Never really been the SecDef before. If you didn't notice that, right? I was picked for it. President asked. I said yes, because you can't really say no most of the time. So he goes forward. He's doing the job. He's going to make mistakes. So I made an honest mistake. It's not going to happen again. We're going to get away from doing Signal because, again, I don't know if you guys saw Admiral McCraven, on TV talking about this whole thing, but he's just saying, hey, these things are going to happen, but it's how you handle this adversity, how you handle the mistakes that makes all the difference. If you button up and try to do, deception and all this stuff like that, that's going to have a totally different optic and a totally different feel leadership wise than if you just open up, say, yes, we did. Yes, it was a mistake. Not going to happen again. I don't think that's the way we're going to do things in the future. And he's going to have to learn some lessons too. He's a young guy in charge of probably one of the biggest organizations on earth. And so to think that he's going to get through without making any mistakes is a mistake. So I think we have to see what he does going forward as a leader, how he handles this situation. If he's going to be able to pull away from this lightning rod status, which I think he will. And again, ultimately it's up to the president, what he wants to do. He's going to probably get some mentorship going down there and saying, hey, here's how you handle this type of crisis. Because again, he has to look at the intentions of the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and what are his overall intentions? Is he trying to do the right things? Is he trying to correct the problem? Has he lost confidence in him? Because on the world stage, it is a big deal. His appearance, his demeanor, his leadership on the world stage, can have an outsized effect for our standing in the international community as well too. And President Trump knows that. So that's ultimately going to be the commander-in-chief's decision, what he does in this situation. But I think, self-accountability, just saying, look, we made some mistakes. I'm going to drive forward. Just like anybody else, we're not going to just fire you over any mistake, but, loyalty, discipline, intentionality. What are your intentions? If you're trying to have personal gain by leaking secrets you shouldn't be leaking, that's all wrong. Yes, I was wrong. I made a mistake. It was an honest mistake, though. It's not going to happen again. And that's what I think.
Yeah. Jake, you strike me as the type of guy that sent an accidental text message to somebody that wasn't supposed to get it before. What do you think about this whole issue? Is it much ado about nothing? Is it a nothing burger? Do you think Pete Hegseth should get some sort of punishment for this? What's your take?
I sent an Aaron text message about 3 weeks ago. It was fucking horrendous. I thought I was sending it to one person. It was in a group chat. I was just like, yeah, my bad. Okay, so now that we're done with that one, here's what I'm going to say. I think that Hegseth got put in a position because he was young. He wasn't of the flavor of the normal generals that get that position, and he was put in position to make change. Anytime you make change, you rock the fucking boat. The waves cause people to get pissed off. Everybody's shooting bullets at you. Did I think it was a big deal about the Signal group? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. All right. At some point, he needs somebody holding his phone for him, right? Like, he's 40 years old. 40-year-olds grew up with texting pretty much their whole life, right? Like, they've had texting since like early middle school. It's a form of communication. It's just something like Ben said, he needs E9 mentorship, right? Really, they need to just sign him some fucking savvy ass dude that's like a 06 or an E9 and be like, hey, bud, you can't do that, right? And then I like the fact that he's going out, working out with the troops. Okay. I like the fact that he's making tours. I like the fact that he's fucking making change. Okay. Because that's why he was hired. He wasn't hired. Like, that's the thing I think a lot of people miss. Like, we're trying to change a lot of shit in the federal government right now. And Trump is trying to fucking flush the toilet. And to do that, you got to get rid of a lot of fucking people, man. And like, it's affecting my family. My wife works for the government. Like, she might lose her fucking job. It's affecting my family. And I'm still saying, like, fuck it. Let's drive on, keep the foot on the gas. Let's go fast. Let's try to get this shit right so that, in 2 years or 3 years, when the next election comes, if it gets fucked up again, like, hopefully we're in a lot better place than we were, a year ago when we had fucking Sleepy Joe in charge.
Yeah. Okay, Bobby. Let's go. Everybody buckle the fuck up.
Okay, here we go. But I ain't going to drag it out. I know Aaron be getting mad at me and shit. I'll just text him about it later. Motherfucker ain't going to respond. All right. I don't want to tell y'all what he said to me earlier. I mean, he talked bad to me.
Dude, I'll fucking show him. I don't give a shit. I'll leak our own chats.
Yeah. Anyway, on the leak chat stuff, originally, I remember Mike Walsh just took fucking accountability for it. He just fell on the sword. Yeah. He said, fuck it, I did it. Obviously, he didn't. We're never going to know exactly everything that goes on because as much as they want to say transparency, they can't do it because I believe they ran a fucking canary trap. I believe they gave some fucking fake goddamn intel to see if it come back. And they started fucking firing people's asses, running them out the door. They're not going to tell everybody that. The media is bought and paid for. They're going to swing things whatever political way they want to. I don't believe shit they say. I take the event and then I go investigate it myself. But I like the guy because he's getting back to the troops. He wasn't in long enough to get high enough to become a politician. So he wasn't too far removed from the ground. And we got to get back to the roots. I like the guy for that. He's staying fit. He's staying in shape. He's going to fucking lead by example. Just reiterating what Jake said, I don't feel like it's a big fucking deal. One, they got to have some damn devices they can talk on that's fucking got real encryption on it, not fucking Signal. It's just being lazy. Everybody's got away with it for so fucking long. The last administration did it. Nobody gave a shit. By the time it come out, I mean, they already done bombed the motherfuckers. I mean, it's over with. But it still needs to be accounted.
And to support your point, man, when you look at those text messages, right, and this is the thing, is people are using classified in an actual spillage. That is an actual charge. Like, we can define that per our regulations. The Signal chats did not rise to that. You can call them attack plans or war plans or whatever. No times, no locations, no weaponeering, no specifics. There was nothing in there that rose to the level of what people are calling classified information. They're like, oh, they said that F-18s launched from sea. Okay, what sea? Okay, so F-18s launched. How many? From what unit? Right? Like, that's what we need for classified information. Oh, well, they targeted the targeted individual and it's a trigger warning and, it's a triggered strike and he's at his apartment complex. Okay, well, which one? Which country? Like, you guys couldn't even figure that out from the first chat. So the breathless outrage is something that
people really are fucking parrots. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but everybody wants to be a subject matter expert because they fucking read news articles. I was like, you don't have any actual substance. You're just repeating shit.
Yeah. Jay, we're going
And
to turn it over to you. I got a great video from Mr. JD Vance, the Ohio State Buckeye himself, one of the smartest politicians we got. I love that the Trump admin has a strong team of Avengers. Here's JD Vance on the issue. And Jay, I'm going to turn it over for you. Do you think this is the right move, or how do you think JD Vance performed?
That week, has that investigation concluded? And what are the findings?
I think we'll get an update soon. Look, we take it very seriously. We all accept that a journalist should not have been invited into the chat, and members of the administration, including my dear friend Mike, have taken responsibility for it. But I find the American media's obsession with this issue very, very interesting, because I happen to remember about 4 years ago when American military leadership made a catastrophic error that got 13 innocent Americans killed in Afghanistan and had about $80 billion of military equipment turned over to one of the worst terrorist organizations in the world. And for years, the American media ran cover for a Biden administration that refused to fire any generals or even launch an internal investigation that was meaningful and substantive about what happened. And now the same American media that covered for the Biden administration after the untimely death and the unnecessary death of 13 brave Americans is really, really interested in forcing the president of the United States to fire someone because of a signal chat. That is not honest behavior from the American media. And if you think you're going to force the president of the United States to fire anybody, you've got another thing coming. President Trump has said it on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, and I'm the vice president saying it here on Friday. We are standing behind our entire national security.
Let's go.
Hey,
Let's go leadership, baby.
He had some bass in his voice, didn't he?
Jay, if there's one thing that this Bobby, why?
We got something going on over there.
That's Bobby's ringtone.
Hey, that's Marine E4 right there, right? Like, he doesn't play around. You don't mess around with those guys.
Well, you don't fuck with civil affairs. You know what I'm saying?
Public affairs. No, camera, combat camera.
Oh man, Comcam, right? But yeah, I agree with him 100%, man. I think it's a witch hunt, because at the end of the day, like what happened 4 years ago, there should have been some accountability held there, but nothing happened. But now, like I said, they hate him so much because he's starting to hurt their pockets, right? Like he's like, nope, woke agenda, you're out of here. Military standards, we're gonna bring those back where they need to be, right? Combat troops, whether male or female, you guys will perform the same tasks. He's turning the Pentagon around. He's doing all the right things, and they hate him for it, man, because at the end of the day, when you start messing with people's money, they come after you. What that looks like, we're seeing it play out right now.
Well, it's become such a norm. Like Aaron said a while ago, like that when that boat gets rocked, people have gotten used to this routine, and this is just the way it is, and everybody accepts it. So when something drastic happens, they don't know how to fucking react. They're like, no, that's not the way we do it. Well, motherfucker, that sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't keep doing the same shit and expect a different result. That's called insanity. Or, you know, it's craziness. You know,
it's interesting sometimes too. I mean, I think we have to keep in mind that, you know, the media is in a business as well. And I know everybody on this, everybody co-host on here keeps that in mind, but just, you know, as we get sucked into it, you know, why do they keep bringing it up? Because it makes people click. It makes people watch, you know? And that's why you see Hegseth getting frustrated. He's like, what the frig? Like, we're trying to like do stuff here. Like, okay, yes, that happened. It's in the open. Everyone knows everything about it. I mean, and so the president's going to make a decision or he's not. That's it. And now drive on. Because at the end of the day, you know, we all have better things to be doing than to be thinking about this. Like, we got to run our lives, run our businesses. We're trying to, you know, I mean, maybe we don't in this channel. It actually helps us more. We can turn it up, you know. But I'm saying, like, it's at some point for them, it just creates more attention, more views, more everything. So that's why, and we have to remember,
go back to why fucking 6 o'clock news.
But that's why they bring it up. Yeah, that's why they bring it up. 24-hour news cycle all the time.
Yeah. Used to the president come on twice a goddamn year, and he was on every channel.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it was a big fucking deal. He has something to say. Now they've made them, these fucking politicians, into goddamn, basically like fucking movie stars. And
right.
Shit. I mean, that's how we got 550 members of Congress, and we see the same 20 dumbasses as all we ever see on TV talking. Yeah. We got AOC over here. They talk about making that bitch president, and she said to sneak up on the sun when it's fucking dark. You know, she said that shit.
Bobby, we already
That bitch
butchered
might
her
wait
earlier.
to go to
We
the
butchered-
sun when it's dark out.
Somebody, I'm gonna fucking mute Bobby. You know what? But we're gonna end on a lighter note here. If we did go back to the 6 o'clock news, you know what that would make us do? It would make us spend some more time together. Thank goodness we have a study that tells us we should be hanging out with the boys at least
Great
twice a
segue.
week. So thanks, I appreciate that. A 2013 study from the University of Oxford suggests that regular gatherings with friends, particularly for men, contribute significantly to good health. That's what we're doing here at the War Room. We're hanging out with you guys at every single possibility that we can. Bobby Aller, we're going to close it up here. What do you want the people to know? Who do you care about? And where do you want them to find you?
2 for 1, baby, sale right now, today. Y'all can do them in the super chats. The money going to a good cause. I can get them personalized. This is Jay knows this cat pretty well. And this thing there, he'll go down in history. That's going to go in the Naval Museum at some point.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Oh man, Ben. Before we go, Aaron, if you don't mind, what have you been up to the last 3 weeks? Anything interesting?
Yeah, man. I was out in New York City for a few events, speaking at a few events. Pretty great stuff. I spoke at the Anti-Terrorism Conference, Council Symposium. A couple hundred people out there. Really, really impressive group. Fantastic group out there of you name it, from law enforcement, first responders to military, defense contractors, leaders of industry, all these different things. So great chance to do that. Also got a chance to speak to the Legacy Alliance, such a big organization of some super successful people that are trying to create a legacy and donate to important causes, things like that. So I've posted, if anyone's interested, I've posted some of those talks up on my YouTube channel, my growing YouTube channel, which is still very small, but with the help of everyone in the War Room, you guys will go in there and check it out. I'm starting to get my YouTube channel growing a little bit, put another long form content video on there today, diving more into some of my coaching, some of the things I do with, building that unstoppable mindset and getting more energy and making your breakthrough, whether it's in battle, business, and life and all that. And then next big push for me is really just in my coaching membership, my community. I'm loving it, loving working with my community. It's fantastic. If you guys are interested, check that out. You can go on my Instagram and click on the link in my bio there. Check that out, and you can take a look and see if it's for you. But definitely having a great time doing all that. So I'm very blessed right now and just loving life, man. Thank you.
Jay, what's new with you, dog?
Absolutely nothing, man. I just getting ready to start a new YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Because my plan right now is to just beat YouTube into submission. I figure if I put out enough video, people will see me everywhere, right? So I know we have the Greenberg Chronicles every Wednesday. Bobby and I and my younger brother, we have a segment over there where we're covering big army stuff. Because what we realize is, in order to get to special operations, you have to go through big army. So we're doing some big army type content over there to try to reach those people. And of course, Greenberg Chronicles and then the War Room podcast, man. Once this new channel is up and running, I'll share it with you guys. But the intent behind that channel is, it's like I'm trying to go broad, right? Like I'm trying to take my leadership and my experience outside the military realm to, like other corners of the world that needs it, right? Because I'm like, man, like we have so much when it comes to leadership and all that within the military. And we typically speak with people that are ex-military guys, but there's 18, 19-year-old kids out there that need mentorship that aren't necessarily in the military. So I'm trying to broaden my scope to hopefully reach them with this new channel and go where they're at and watch some of the dumb shit that they watch and react to some of the dumb shit that they react to, so I can hopefully try to relate and communicate with them at a different level.
Jake Zwig, break us off, brother. I know you're raising world champions there in your house and you're creating world champions via your own program. What you got?
Yo, I'm just going to give you a hit from Wednesday night Zoom. We had a French young man who didn't want to talk to women, introduced himself to 10 women last week, murdered it. It's going to be a direct byproduct of success in the female workspace with the game school that we're rolling out. We'll be on Patreon. We're making a move to Patreon with the masterclass for Navy SEALs, the land navigation course, and this massive new endeavor that I'm taking with a former quarterback from Washington State called West Coast Vikings /Game School. So you'll find all that over on my channel. Got YouTube doing the same thing as Jay. We're all kind of slow on YouTube. So we're trying to figure out how to reinvent some stuff. Other than that, man, just raising 3 savages. I got a savage in Houston playing the fucking trumpet in a ensemble with the middle school. I get to pick him up at 11 o'clock. I dropped him off. It was his first super field trip. My man was fired up.
Can I add one thing real quick before we jump off?
Yeah,
So it's like Wednesday night, and my YouTube pops up, and all of a sudden it's like, Jake Swag is live. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see what Jake's up to. All of a sudden he's like, all right, motherfucker, you been to a pawn shop? the guy's like, yes, sir, I have. What the fuck did you take there? And he's like, a drone, sir. He's like, you fucking sold a drone. How much that drone cost you? He's like, $2,000. How much they give you for it? He's like, $750. Jake is laying into this dude. He's like, yes, sir, no, sir. He's like, you tried to get the pawn shop that drone back, didn't you? And he goes, yes, sir. He's like, they give it to you? He's like, nope, no, sir. He's like, uh-huh. He goes, they just looked at you and smoked away. He said, that's $2,000 drones. Mine. Jake, I was dying, dude. I hit that like button.
They get him with the guns and the butter.
That's it. Listen, so you got to check Jake out on his Discord, man. It is Jake Swag classic on fire, man. It's good stuff. So,
bro, we trying to help the next generation, man. You can't.
You had this guy. You had him.
You can't grow up poor going to the fucking pawn shop and expecting to get rich, bro. You can't do it, man. Gotta be fired up, right? Ben. The goddamn right.
Amen.
Going to the bench. You can't go to the pawn shop and get rich, bro. You can't pawn the shit you buy and expect to get rich, man. Like, I'm big on mentorship, man. Like, we're talking about the men talking to men. I had men's lunch yesterday, 3 West Point grads, 3 orthopedic surgeon guys. It was phenomenal in my dude's restaurant that he just opened up a week ago. And like, if you don't have mentorship, you ain't going nowhere. So thank you, Ben, for firing me to fuck back up. Like,
dude, you were slaying
I'm calling
it, man.
him right now.
Dude, you were crushing it, brother.
Can I have a serious moment for a second? Everybody in the chat, I do like to
get
joke.
Your pitches together, everyone. You have one chance to make a pitch, Bobby Aller. What you
Okay, all right. I just want to tell everybody, like, I do have serious moments. I do like to laugh and joke. I want to talk serious for just 1 second. If everybody could go to Facebook, Instagram, X. I'm part of an organization. It's all former soldiers, veterans. There's only 10 of us. We go to Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and bring back POW MIA remains that the government has left and forgotten. We are doing some good things right now. We are selling some whiskey. We will give you the bottle is $300. If you buy a bottle, we'll give you a $1,300 charitable fucking write-off. So you actually make $1,000 off of it. This money goes to nobody gets paid. This is for strictly nothing but mission. I can't say the specifics on everything I've done so far, but just know I have already beat the government for the entire year with 4 guys on the ground. We do some really good things, and we want to bring these guys home because they're getting forgotten about and erased with time. Every day goes by that.
Tours of duty, Bobby.
Yes, sir.
You have to lead with that. Get your pitch together. This is
man. I'm not as good as you. Goddammit!
I'll put the link in the fucking chat.
These guys are killers. Bobby, these guys are killers, man. Bobby, you should see me before. No headphones, no microphone. I was like, freaking, these guys are killers. They're gonna,
oh man, this guy right here, he belongs on a Fox analyst. I mean, 100%. He just rips it.
100%, dude. 100%.
I got too many ums, but man, I'm really passionate about this ordeal. I get close to the families, and I do everything under the sun to find them. Nate was actually talking earlier. He was talking about Jim Day, and I have made it a point to bring back some of the guys from Mac v. SOG, and I can't say 100% until I get done with DNA testing if I have or not. But I will say I think I'm the first one.
Wow. Let's go.
Appreciate
Let's
you,
go, Bobby. Doing real fucking work. I want to come, Bobby.
Bring your ass. Up. Bring your motherfucking ass, Jack.
I just hate taking the fucking malaria pills, bro. But
you ain't got to take that shit. I didn't. And hey, I use tech, baby. I got that DJI 350 Matrice out there with the LiDAR and the GPR system on it. We mapping that bitch out.
Okay.
Go over to Tours of Duty. Make sure to follow Bobby everywhere he is. I got a little something for you too as well, and I'm going to clean up this pitch so you guys can see what one looks like. I dropped a merch line this week.
Oh shit!
Woo! You got a V-neck.
You can go over to Red Pill Threads. They're American made, American designed, American shipped, 100% American inside of this country. You can check anything you want. My favorite is the anti-social media influencer because I'm anti-social media influencer. I don't like any of them motherfuckers, and I'm also anti-social, and I just happen to be on the internet. So you can check it out. You can get your incel shirt. You can get your tactical Chad shirt. My favorite one right here is the Live, Laugh, Lockheed Martin shirt. I just find it to be hilarious.
I need that bitch in a medium.
You can do it. Go over to Red Pill Threads, check it out. I'd appreciate the support. So get yourself one of them. You'll see them here on the show in a little bit. I'm looking forward to working with Red Pill Threads. They're a great American company. You can find me at Aaron Loves America, or you can just Google my name, motherfucker. I'm famous. From that, gentlemen.
Take a breath.
Everything else.
Hey, love y'all.
Great having you, Aaron. Great having you back, brother.
All right, boys. Thanks for everybody out there, everybody in the chat. Thanks so much. We're done.
See everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.